Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. I am your host, John Rush, and welcome. Beautiful, beautiful Colorado day, and we've had some fantastic weather here the last few days. And no, we're not a weather show, but we'll continue to talk about it anyway, just because it's so great. I said yesterday on air that this is why those Chamber of Commerce folks go out and take pictures and then show them all around the world, and make Colorado such a great place to live and show and get people to move here and all that. But with me is Dennis Brewster and Craig Wallace from John's 4x4. Dennis is up here in the Park area. Craig's up in Boulder. So we went both ends of the spectrum today. We went north and south.
Yeah, we cover everything in between. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So question of the day. We want to hear from you. 303-477-5600. We'll get into a couple of topics that we didn't get to last week. One of them being car wax detail preparation for winter. We had somebody last week ask if we could get into a more detailed explanation of that, which we will definitely get into. I've got some tech tips from David in Idaho that's going to start emailing me weekly. And then I also want to talk about new car technology as we have time. But the question of the day, what was your worst date ever? Not date on the calendar, by the way. What was your worst date? Women, this is open for you. Ladies, for you. Men, for you. What was your worst date ever? My gut feeling is if we get some ladies to call in, their experiences are probably going to be worse than we men.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys?
I would guess that they have a much better recollection of how the date went.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
We do?
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
tend to agree.
And I got to think back quite a ways because I've been married 34 years, so I'm not.
Exactly.
I got to be careful with that one because Pam might be listening. You know.
Just make sure it's not her.
It isn't.
Okay.
It isn't.
All right. Yeah. Make sure that the worst date ever. You know, and it could be that the worst date ever was somebody you ended up marrying. By the way, this question came from Larry Unger at Larry's Automotive over in Westminster. So, by the way, if you guys have any questions that you think would be fun to talk about, you know, I want to do this on a continual basis, send us an email.
Please.
John at drive-radio.com. Send us what questions you've got. I'll pop them on air. And, you know, just make sure they're, you know, above board, clean, et cetera. You guys know the show we do here, et cetera. You know, Matt on the other side of the glass never, ever has to worry about hitting the, we call it the dump button, where if somebody says something they shouldn't, you have to dump somebody off. You know, we've never, ever had to do that on this particular station. We did it once on the old station, never on this station.
And we don't want to have to.
And we don't want to do that. So, yeah, keep them clean, keep them fun, but let us know what is a question you'd love to have us ask. But for today, go back in your memory banks, especially some of you guys that are as old as us in this room. What was the worst date you ever had? And it could have something to do with a car. It could have something to do with not a car. It could just be in general. You know, was it a blind date? Was it a who knows what? I'm going to have to rack my brain a little bit and determine what was the worst date ever. You know, part of this is, you know, homecomings right now. I've been seeing on Facebook all of the different people that are out doing, you know, homecoming pictures and all the different stuff that's going on. And sometimes that leads into, you know, good and bad dates. So anyways, what was your worst date? Not first date. What was your worst date ever? Give us a call. Let us know what that is. And also, by the way, we are here to answer your car questions. So anything you want to talk about, car-related, doesn't matter. In fact, you know, guys, we've answered questions about boats, ATVs, tractors, lawnmowers, chainsaws, you name it. If it's got a motor, engine, I should say, or motor, engine or motor, either one, we'll talk to you. We don't care. 303-477-5600 is our number. Jerry and Greeley is our first caller of the day. Jerry, welcome to Drive Radio. What's going on today?
I've got a friend who had some wiring damage from mice. And I was wondering if you had any recommendations, any mouse repellent recipes.
You bet.
Yeah, we have several, and I fight this a lot because I have a large, where my fleet is, I have a large yard, and it's next to all of the open space wrapping around us, and we end up with tons and tons of rodents that run around, rabbits, mice, etc. For the mice, I'll get these guys' opinion, but for us personally, believe it or not, Jerry, the easiest thing to do is, of course, clean up. You want to get rid of all of the remnants of any mice that have been there at all, you know, period. Then we take dryer sheets and spread them all around the areas that the mice have been in. And the dryer sheet gives a fresh scent, which mice hate. And I learned this. I didn't know this until last year. Believe it or not, mice can travel up to a mile back to where their nest was, and of course where they, do their business. Let's just say it that way. They like the smell of all of that, and that's why they always go back to that particular spot over and over again. So the key there is to get rid of that smell so they cannot go back to that same spot.
Okay.
And it works. The dryer sheets do work. Now,
Yep.
I will tell you that I haven't eliminated every mouse from every truck I own, but I have cut my mouse invasions down to a minimum by just putting dryer sheets in the trucks.
Yeah, and the other thing what happens is people park in their garages, they shut the garage door, the car's warm, the mice run up in there. You got to check your garage and find out where that mouse is, where he's hibernating. And a lot of times it's because they got food in there.
Keeping things clean, keeping the food down, keeping the ability for them not to have anything to nest with, which they love cars because there's all sorts of things to build a nest with in there. I mean, they've got seat insulation, they've got you name it. The other thing, if you're close enough to an electrical outlet, and I have personally used this, and yes, it personally works. I also, at home, I live next to some open space, and I have a lot of mice that can end up in the garage, etc. And I have kept them out of my garage, or really kept that to a minimum by using those ultrasonic devices that you plug into an electrical outlet. You can buy them at Home Depot. They come in I think a 2-pack, Jerry. So if you're close enough to an electrical panel, or an outlet, I should say, those electronic devices actually work really well.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. But specifically, what got chewed up was the lead from his rear O2 sensor, the post converter. Okay. And the mouse got it right where the wires came out of the connector on the upstream side, I guess. Heading towards the computer. Yep. And I was wondering, is that something that a person could fix just by soldering? The wires together, because there's not enough sticking out of the connector to joint properly. What would be the best way to fix that?
The best way on those wires would be to solder with heat shrink on top of that.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it.
But it doesn't sound like you've got a lot to work with.
No.
Well, yeah. So I was assuming that he'd have to buy a new connector that would come with some length of leads off of that.
Correct. If it's available. Sometimes they're not available.
Yeah, what are we working on, by the way?
I'm sorry, it's a 2007 Saturn.
Oh, okay.
That's GM. You should be able to buy a connector for that.
The GM connectors are pretty easy. Some of the imports are really difficult. Yeah, so that should be no problem.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure if there was some magic about having just exactly the right resistance in the wiring, or
not on that part. It wouldn't matter.
Just good, solid connections.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
You're very welcome, Jerry. Thank you very much. Appreciate you calling in.
Craig was showing us a picture of a mouse that did some damage in something.
Yeah, we can show that on YouTube. Hang on. YouTube folks that are watching. By the way, this is why you want to go to YouTube. So go to youtube.com. In the search bar there, type in Drive Radio. You'll see our live events, and we will show you. Let me see. I got to get the screen up here where I can make sure that I'm showing the folks on YouTube this properly. So I'm going to go hold this up in front of the camera so you can actually see. There you go. Get closer and closer. Working backwards. There we go.
Toyota 4Runner.
So there's your nest. So there's what mice can do. Where's that other picture you just showed me a minute ago? There's even a bigger glob of it. Okay, so here's the glob of it that actually came out. So again, you guys on YouTube can actually see that. I got to turn it the right direction. So there you go. So
my first
that's the advantage of YouTube. So tune in, watch YouTube. And by the way, if you don't want to watch us live, you can come back in and watch us. And real quick, the way you can watch us, go to drive-radio.com. Right on the home page, I put the feed for our weekend show. It's right there, so it'll be there. It'll store there too until we override it with a new show. But it's there. The easiest way to go watch us is to just go to our home page and check us out. So, Dennis, what were you going to say?
Yeah, my first incident with a mouse was dog food. Yep. And what it was is I was working on a Datsun 810. This puts me back quite a ways. It came in. It was towed in. It wouldn't run. There was no air going through the system. The dog food was packed. There's a long tunnel that goes across the front of by the radiator all the way to the air cleaner box, and it was packed full of dog food. That mouse was taking that dog food and storing it. and then there was a nest built up in the manifold where he was nesting in.
Which, again, leads us back to that discussion of, and I'm always ranting and raving at all of my guys about this, you've got to keep any type of a food source at a minimum. Because that's what will keep them around, of course, because they take that food. And I've seen the same thing Dennis is talking about. I've seen rabbit food, cat food, dog food.
Anything they can get.
Anything they can get a hold of. People food. I mean, they'll drag anything they can, peanuts, nuts, anything at all, sunflower seeds, you name it. If it gets kind of, tossed around, it's going to end up in their nest.
And whatever you do, don't leave a roll of toilet paper laying around.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They'll
toilet paper, paper towels.
Anything like that, yeah.
You'll be their best friend.
Insulation.
Forever. Yeah.
What else am I missing, guys? I've seen them chew up towels.
Yeah.
Anything like that at all that they can actually get in and build a nest with, they will. But paper, they love paper because it's easy. I've seen them chew the outside edges, cardboard edges off of light bulbs and things along those lines.
Oh, yeah.
Anything they can get a hold of. You'll look at something and think, oh, they're not going to bother that.
Yeah, they will.
If it's not metal or plastic, and even sometimes they'll chew the plastic. And the wiring, by the way, and we continue to learn this, and I think Kurt Anderson is the one that actually let us know this. There are certain wires that the insulation is made with different materials that actually attracts rodents.
I believe it was soy was in it.
Yeah, they like the taste of it, and thereby...
And it makes sense, because we see more of those situations than we do the others,
Yeah.
Anyways, didn't know we were going to get into rodents today, but hey, that's fine. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about.
That's coming up because they're going to be going. They're trying to find right now a way to get inside to find a warm place because they know winter's coming.
They're smarter than we are.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah. And like in you were saying, you see a lot of it because of where you are. Well, we do, Craig. I know you do because you're out. There's country living out there, and there is down by us.
Yeah.
And we see the rabbits. We see everything.
Rabbits, squirrels, mice,
everything.
You name it.
We get chewed up.
That's right.
Yeah.
And by the way, every one of those I just mentioned requires a little bit different prevention methods to keep them out. In other words, what keeps mice out may not keep the rabbits out. What keeps the rabbits out may not keep the squirrels out. And every one of them is a crafty little booger that are trying their best to stay warm and survive the winter. That's what they're doing. And have babies.
And you know what? Don't leave out the snakes.
Oh, and snakes too.
Yeah, because I've seen them come in.
Yeah, we got lots of snakes where I'm at too. Yeah. So yes. So want to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Maybe you have a rodent tip. A rodent prevention tip. You know what? We don't have all the answers on that stuff. Man, and that's something, by the way, personally, where I live and where my shop is, I fight that all of the time. Yes. We fight mice and rodents on a daily basis. Yeah. Literally. I mean, I've got, decon out. We've got traps out. I use the ultrasonic things. I mean, we do everything we can to keep those boogers away. And you know what? In some cases, it's almost, you just feel like you're fighting a battle every day. Yeah. So my sympathies to those of you out there that, are trying to figure this out. But as far as the cars go, some of the tips we just gave should help. But hey, call us. We want to know, what was your worst date? So we'll have some, potentially some answers from those of us in the room here when we come back. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. But we really want to hear from you. What questions do you have? Let's help you with your car. We'll also talk about some tech tips. Also have some car care tips. We'll go over those also this first hour. But call us. We want to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Matt, take us away. We'll be back right after these messages, which, by the way, are so important. They are what support not only Drive Radio, but this station. Make sure you listen. And as I always say, if you use these folks, please let them know you listen to the radio. It's valuable to them to know where their marketing dollars are being spent. We'll be back right after this. John Rush, your host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Worn out shocks and struts make your car handle like a banana boat being towed by a super tanker. Fix that pavement pontoon now and get 4 qualifying Napa or Rancho shocks and struts for the price of 3 with a mail-in rebate offer. So stop sloshing around and conquer the job with Napa Know-How. Mail-in rebate offer for Visa prepaid card in the amount of the lowest cost unit at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 10/31/14.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I said listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't got the same soul. I like that old-time rock and roll.
And I do like the old-time rock and roll. So great song, Matt. Appreciate that. Lead-in music. Matt does a great job for us, by the way. And I see Matt a lot during the week, so we have a good connection going, and I appreciate Matt and all that he does for us here at the station. And, again, one line open is all. Call us, 303-477-5600. We'd love to chat with you. Arnie, you are up first. What's going on today, Arnie?
Okay. Mice was a really ugly many years ago. The little house of mice, or the little home of mice, set up in the radio in my 32.
Okay.
And I resolved I had to figure that out. Decon since then, in all my vehicles that sit out. I don't,
right.
I drive every day, of course I don't, but I got vehicles sitting out in the barn. And for years, what I understand is the decon, when they get into it, then they want to get water.
Yep.
And therefore they leave. They don't die on site. I've never had one yet die, on site. So
I think that's true.
So it's a little bucket of, little container, small container of decon, maybe on a running board or under the hood too.
I've put them up. Believe it or not, those mice will climb tires and stuff too. I've even put decon on top of a tire. Yeah. In a certain situation, because they'll climb on they'll do, those little boogers can climb a stinking brick wall. It's just amazing what they can do.
Yeah. An engine compartment.
Yep.
And inside the car.
Yep.
On the floorboard or whatever. And, if you've got an old cars like mine, they can get, the car isn't sealed up. It has too many places they can get in. The only negative, of course, is your dogs and cats.
Correct. You got to watch if you've got animals that eat. Cats especially. If you've got an animal that will eat that mice when it dies somewhere, if it happens to be out in the open, Ernie, you're right. And that is something for all of you listening. And, the other thing to be, kind of aware of, and I'm not an environmentalist by any means, but remember, if you're in an area, too, where there's a lot of hawks and things like that, if they pick up a dead mouse, which they typically, I've never seen them, necessarily grab a dead mouse, but if it's half alive, Arnie, half dead, that's where you kind of got to watch that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, on the same token, I don't like having my cars and everything else ruined by some, nasty old mouse. So, you do what you got to do.
Right.
And here's the deal. You could put decon inside the house and have them run outside and have the same issue. So, it just kind of is what it is. So, I'm one that still, you got to protect what you own first.
And if the car is sitting out then a good place is under the hood.
Yeah.
For the decon.
Yes.
I mean, they'll find it. You know,
yes, they will. Yeah, we were talking. By the way, Arnie, not to interrupt, but we were talking this last week. What do they put in decon that makes it taste so good that those mice will go seek it out and eat it? I have yet to figure out what they put in that stuff.
I haven't tried it myself.
Me neither.
Yeah, I don't plan on it. Yeah.
They must put something in it because those little boogers will just eat the life out of that stuff.
They will.
They love it.
Yep. So you need to periodically go around and check your spots.
That's a good idea, Arnie.
You know, I do that in the house too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We live out kind of in the sticks.
Yep.
So you have to, you know, and the attic. Boy, the attic in the house.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I do the same thing. I put this time of year. I'll go put a few of I put the plates out in the attic. I don't use the little boxes. I just put the little dinner dishes, they call them, out for the mice upstairs. And and then this is a reminder. This weekend, I probably ought to go through my house and do the exact same thing. So this is kind of timely, everybody. So
calendar.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks everybody for reminding us because I don't know if I'd have done it quite yet, but it's time.
Yep.
Arnie, thanks for your call. Great tips, by the way. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Randy, who's next. Line's open. If you got any more rodent prevention tips. That wasn't on my topic for today, but
it works.
It works, yeah.
Or date prevention.
Or date prevention.
Yeah, no.
I thought that's if you just wear old, nasty clothes and don't take a bath for 2 days.
Right.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Anymore, though, I don't know that that's totally the answer from what I've seen walking around on the streets at times.
Yeah. Come on, people. You guys got to call in about some of these dates.
What is your worst date?
I want to hear some.
303-477-5600. Randy in Castle Rock. What's up, Randy?
Hey guys, I'm going to throw a date out before my car collection.
Okay, that's fine.
It wasn't a worst date, but it damn sure was awkward. I tell you what, I had went out with a girl, and after a month or whatever, maybe a little less, I got a crush on her sister, about 2 years younger, and so we start going out. And what was the awkward part was this was back before cell phones, about 76 or so. So you'd have to get up and go knock on the door, and you know the parents would answer the door, and they're used to me coming for the one girl, but I wanted the other girl, so they didn't say anything, but you can just look in their face, and there's kind of this awkwardness. And boy, if the ex-girlfriend answered the door, then the eyes roll back in the head, and pretty darn awkward. So I learned a trick on my next date was, I didn't knock on the door, I just honked my horn a few dozen times, because I wasn't going through that again.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awkward. I'd give you that one. I'm not sure I ever had that particular situation. Well,
yeah,
not
well,
quite.
It didn't last long.
I did date two sisters once, and that was a little awkward. Yeah.
Well, it didn't last long because the sisters weren't getting along right, and it was because of me, naturally.
Typically happens.
Yep.
But anyway, so the next girl, I would honk the horn. So
okay,
they'd look out.
So what's going on with your car, Randy?
I had a question on the car. On this Caliber here, when the change oil light comes on, they said the procedure is going to be to turn the key forward without starting the car, hit the gas pedal 3 times. Okay, that's good. But my question is, in doing so, isn't that going to dump fuel all over my spark plugs? And if so, is that going to foul my plugs?
Not a fuel-injected car, no.
Oh, yeah, it is fuel injected. But
yeah, no,
I thought when you hit the gas without the car that it dumps fuel.
On the old carbureted days where there was a bowl out there that had fuel in it, and when you pumped it, the accelerator pump pushed fuel in it, yes, that would have been a problem. Today's modern fuel-injected cars, you could hammer on that accelerator as many times as you want until you turn the key and start it. Until you get in that start mode, it's not going to do a thing.
That's right.
All right, I just wondered, because then if I was going to have to start it up, kind of turn that off, run it third gear, get the RPMs up.
Nope, won't have to do anything.
Okay. Well, that was it, but don't do the two-sister thing. That's
not a good idea.
Yeah.
Awkward. Okay, thank you, guys.
You betcha, Randy. Appreciate that. I'm sure we're going to get a few more interesting comments about the dates. So what's your worst date ever? Tell us what it is, 303-477-5600. And as we've started off today, rodent prevention, I guess.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else you want to add to that?
Well, the thing about it is you got to kind of think about that when you go to store your vehicles. When you're putting them away for, especially people who put them away for the season. But if you put your camper away, your boat, anything like that, you still got to think about it. I was thinking they wouldn't get into my boat, but they've gotten into the boat too.
Really? So how are they climbing up the cover, the rope? What? Because
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think they went up the tires, came across the axle. I don't know. They came up somehow. They got in there.
Wow.
And I'm like, how the heck did that little guy get in there?
Well, and they can jump. Craig just said, they can jump.
Well, I don't know if they went up a tree, jumped. I don't know. I don't know. But I was like, how did they get in here? I thought that was protected.
All I know is when you try to step on a mouse that's running around, they are the fastest little boogers on the planet. You can't. I've stepped on a few with my boot, but it's just been a lucky shot.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Because trying to get one of those things is like, it's just almost, I mean, I've seen those things fit through a hole that you couldn't hardly poke your little finger in.
I asked a guy that, we do this one company called Pest Control, I don't know. He told me, he goes, if you have a pen, if you find a hole in your house, going into your house the size of a pen, a mouse can get in. Wow. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The skull's got to be thicker than that. And he goes, no, they'll get in the size of a pen.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
That's not so. Just basically, basically a 3/8 inch or so or less, diameter, quarter-inch even diameter.
And if someone is into that industry, if maybe they can call us and tell us.
Sure, we'd love to know. Yeah. Well, any other rodent prevention tips? That's kind of where things have gone today. We'll take them. 303-477-5600. Or what's your worst date ever? All right. Tech tips from David in Idaho. We've been kind of doing this midway through the first hour, and I appreciate David doing this. He's a faithful listener up in Idaho, an old technician, and some of these are really great tips, and we had a couple last week that I appreciated. So, electrical diagnosis using a dome light, which, by the way, every car has. And I'll give a disclaimer, and he'll talk about this at the end. Some of the newer cars, it's not quite as easy as it may seem. At the older vehicles, this works fine, and I've used this myself, so I know it works. One of the shortcuts we used when diagnosing large electrical faults like power windows, power seats, was to use the vehicle's dome light to determine if there was an electrical fault or a mechanical one. Here's what you do. Open the door with the key on, engine off, turns the dome light on, or you can manually switch the light on, either way. Open a window that is known to work and watch the light change in intensity in response to the lowering and raising of the window. Now try it on the window that has a fault and observe it again. If the light changes in one direction but not the other, you have a switch problem. If the light changes in both directions but the window doesn't move, you probably have a mechanical fault, either the motor or the regulator. No change in either direction, and you probably have a bad switch or a broken wire that you would proceed to disassemble for further diagnosis. Later cars use body modules to switch windows, and the scan tool would be best choice, but you can still rely on the dome light to diagnose the load side of the module wiring and motor. Have a starter that doesn't make a sound when the key's turned on? You guessed it, the dome light will reveal a stuck solenoid if you see the dome light change when trying to crank. And that's all true, by the way.
That is all true, yeah.
And by the way, we've, as technicians, all used that.
I'll bet you we've gotten in that car, looked at that, and watched it happen, and just said, okay, I know where I need to go.
You don't teach that stuff. We don't talk about that stuff. We don't really talk about it in public. So David in Idaho, thanks. That's a great tip. He's going to continue to email us a tip a week. And by the way, if some of you others have tips, somebody else last week emailed me a tip after the show. If you've got tips, feel free, email them. If you want to do it while we're on air, we'll use them. That's what this show is all about. And I say it often. You rarely, in fact, I can say I've never done this show where I didn't leave here learning something new I didn't know before I came in.
Oh, yeah.
Even as the host, whether it's studying for the show, you guys as callers, you name it. There's something every single week I've learned. So for 18-plus years, I've learned something new every single Saturday, and now I'm doing it during the week, 5 days a week, because there's yet a show I do. You don't learn something by the time it's over.
And Randy just taught us something. Don't date two sisters.
Don't date two sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one will get you in trouble.
Yes, it will.
All right, we're going to be back, and don't date your sister. That's probably the other one. No, we're not going there. That's only in the, is that only
John,
in the South? Or?
Yeah, you're getting borderline. Getting borderline.
All right, we will be back with more car tips, car discussions. We're going to start talking about car care inside and out. I've got some tips for you on how to properly wax and take care of the vehicle heading into fall. And we want to hear from you. Let us know what your questions are, 303-477-5600, or just add to our conversation. John Rush, Craig Wallace, and Dennis Brewster here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment, or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
K&N's premium oil filters are very different. They make oil changes easier. K&N's wrench-off oil filters have a 1-inch nut welded on the top, so you can easily change the filter with a wrench or ratchet. And used with a Ziploc bag, you can even remove a K&N oil filter with no oil spillage at all. Another great product from K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Your wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Arvada West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all 4 wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Arvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Your garage is filled with awesome things, like your collection of unused sporting goods and an odd assortment of scrap lumber. Dump it all. You'll need the room, because Napa has Mobil 1 synthetic oil for $5.99 a quart. Yep, for $5.99 a quart, you can fill your garage with Mobil 1. Now that's a good use of space. Conquer the job with Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 9/30/14.
All right, good music, Matt. Thanks for playing that. And by the way, a tip for you people that would be dating, would-be daters. This is something that you probably should follow a little more closely than some of us in the room did back in the day.
Don't give our secrets away.
Never date somebody you don't want to marry and or be attached to family-wise.
That's right.
Right, guys?
Yeah. You marry the family.
You marry the family.
Yeah, you do.
So just a tip. 303-477-5600. Matt, what are you saying there?
I learned with my wife's family, and I've learned this well enough. And I've had a lot of friends that you're not only marrying that person, you're marrying that family. And if that family is completely crazy, you might not want to be a part of that family. I've seen some crazy things happen before, and
I have this great YouTube video that I'm not sure I can work it into today, but I will see if I can. I'll at least see if I can mention what it is, and you guys can all go out there and watch it, because one of you listeners actually sent it to me. That's where it came from in the first place, so I feel safe in referring to this particular video. If I can find it online here in the next few minutes, I'll see if I can play a little clip from it, because it goes along with what Matt just said. But lines are full. Call us when somebody drops off, 303-477-5600. Let's go to Sal in Aurora. Sal, what's going on today?
Well, I've got a 2010 Ford F-350.
Okay.
And it, when it gets cold, it'll smoke, and it reads on the panel that it's the exhaust cleaning, and it'll do that. But in the summer months, it doesn't do it. But in the winter months, I'm not kidding you, it's every day it'll smoke, and Ford tells me it's a sensor on top, but what I'm looking for is somebody that can repair that, or is that repairable? Will that continuously smoke?
No, it's repairable, and it's got something where it's wanting to go into we call it the regen mode. It's going into regen more often than it should be. And first things first, on that 2010, the first thing that needs to happen is somebody that has the ability to make sure that the software in the computer is up to date needs to happen first. Where are you at, by the way, Sal?
Aurora.
What part of Aurora?
Southeast.
Go see Dennis out in Parker. He's got a great diesel tech.
Yep.
That 6.4 is, I don't want to be as critical to it, but it's got as many problems as some of the 6-liters did. So it's very important to find somebody that understands a 6.4-liter and knows how to work on it. But yeah, first things first, it needs to be reflashed to make sure that all of the updates are there, because it could be something as simple as software. I don't know why did the dealer check that to see if it had the latest update of software?
Well, you know, I like the dealer, but when I call them, they're always 5 days, 2 weeks out, and you know what? I can't leave my vehicle.
Yeah, no, you can't. You're right. Well, again, first things first. First thing that has to be done is to make sure that in some cases, it could just be simply a matter of updating the computer to the latest software, and if that's all it is, that's a pretty simple fix. And sometimes on those, that's all it is.
And the scan tool kind of tells you.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Now, you said somewhere in Parker.
Extreme Auto Repair in Parker.
Extreme?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me your number, Dennis.
It's 303.
Okay.
841.
841.
1071.
1071. Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah, and it could have that it's got a temperature sensor issue or something along those lines too that's causing that. Although I doubt it. It's more than likely something software related that's making it go into regen.
It shouldn't do it every day.
Let's just say that whole system needs to have a full inspection to know exactly what's going on with it, because that should not be doing that daily, Sal, when it's cold out.
Right. Now, is that expensive or not?
The flash update is not that expensive. If it gets beyond that, who knows? We'll have to just dig into it and
That's
see.
why it's going to have to be diagnosed, and we'll check it out for you and then let you know how much it's going to run.
Okay. Now, how far are you out?
Bring it in. Our guys are fast.
Yeah, and Dennis has 14 bays, large shop. He can get you in and out.
20 bays.
20 bays. Sorry.
That's right. 8 technicians, so we can get you in and out.
Where are you located in Parker?
The closest cross street is Lincoln and Parker Road.
Okay. Okay. Great.
You'll take care of you, Sal.
Thanks for the info.
All right.
Thank you.
People look at me like I'm crazy when I'm behind them.
No, I'm sure they know. I've experienced that, so I know exactly what you're talking about. No, we want to, and you're using more fuel when it's doing that, so you want to get that fixed.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You betcha, Sal. Appreciate that very much. One line open, 303-477-5600. Dave in Littleton, you're up next. What's going on, Dave?
I have an 06 Silverado with the diesel.
Okay, with a Duramax?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it past years, so it has not been heating up as well as it should.
Okay.
Or has been.
As far as temperature, engine temperature itself goes?
Correct.
Okay.
Last time I went for the emissions inspection, they said I was just on the borderline of the smoke.
Okay.
And I'm wondering what's the cause of it.
What have you done cooling system-wise on the vehicle since 06? Any flushes, thermostats, anything like that?
I had it flushed about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Thermostats just replaced a couple of weeks ago.
And that make any change at all?
Zero.
No change. That it's running. Well, I mean, what degrees is it running at, or do you know?
I have a thermometer in the vent outlet, and it used to go up to about 150, 160, and now it's about 130.
So you're roughly 20 degrees cooler all of a sudden.
It's got a temperature gauge on the dash, right, as far as the engine temperature?
Correct.
Does it still read in its normal position like it always has?
No.
No.
Just
it is
low.
also reading cooler.
Yes.
Okay. Well, gosh, thermostat would have been my first guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Mine too. That's why I had it changed.
And did they use an OEM type thermostat when it went back together, or do you know?
They guaranteed it was a Chevy.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Good. So we want to hear. I don't know of anything else that typically it's the opposite, circumstances that we have with, not efficient enough cooling, and things are getting too hot, not too cool. I don't know that I've ever experienced that on a Duramax where they're running too cool, and that guys in that room are shaking their heads and know also.
The first thing I would want to do.
When I picked up the thermostats, the guy said they never go bad.
And they typically don't, and I think I would agree with him on that. That's not typically something that you see, go bad on a routine basis.
And it used to climb fairly high on the initial start. I could go maybe and be up to temperature. And now, if it's under load, if I pull my trailer, it almost gets up to the 200 where it should be. And now, without a trailer, it goes maybe 170 according to the gauge.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I'd be a bit baffled. The first thing I would want to do is get a scanner hooked up to it and just see what the onboard computer is seeing. I'd probably take an infrared and see what I could see as far as physical temperatures of the engine, and see if I can make a comparison there, just to see ultimately is one item lying to another and making you believe something that isn't necessarily true.
The other thing that I was going to ask too, and I forgot about this, is have you done any other modifications to it? In other words, does it have any aftermarket programmers or anything like that in it?
None.
None. Okay, so it's all 100% stock.
Yes.
I'm along the lines of Craig, where I'd want to get a scan tool on it and see what everything's doing. And the other thing I would also want to do is check all injectors to make sure that you're not over-fueling, because if it's over-fueling, it could be cooling things down and also making it tougher to pass emissions, which if it's got an injector that's hanging open a little bit and it's running too much fuel, it could be doing all of the above.
Certainly. How many miles are on the truck?
115.
It's not a lot.
Oh, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot at all.
I'm with Craig. Somebody, in Littleton, we've got either Geno's. I don't know whether they do a lot of diesel work or not. If not, you'll have to drive over to Dennis and do it.
I got a great GM tech. Yeah.
You could call Steve at Geno's first and see if they've got the ability to look at it. If not, Dave, run it over to Dennis at Extreme and see what he'll do in Parker.
Okay.
But it needs to be scanned, find out exactly what's going on, what's each cylinder contribute. You can do things on the diesel side of the fence you can't do on the engine side with the injectors to see exactly what's going on, which ones are contributing, which ones aren't. If it is over-fueling, it could very well be the cause of the problem. What's your fuel mileage, by the way?
Oh, around town I get 14.
And has that changed at all?
Not that I can see.
Okay, and it's no worse than it's been since you bought the truck?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's strange.
Typically, if it's over-fueling, you'd have lesser fuel economy. Although
I should see it coming out the exhaust, though, shouldn't I?
No, because it'll just burn it. You won't know you'll
might smoke a little bit.
You may have a little bit of black smoke, but on these newer trucks with the emissions on them, you won't see it like the old trucks.
No, you don't.
Okay, and the number for Extreme again?
303-841-1071.
Very good.
The other thing I would try, just to give these guys an idea so you can help them with the diagnosis and save yourself a little bit of time, is I would take a little piece of cardboard, put it up in front of the radiator, cover about half of it up, and see if that changes engine temperature at all.
Well, the vehicle came with the covering
with the winter front. Perfect.
And last year I did put it on.
Did it help?
Yes.
Okay. So that means cooling system, et cetera, is working like it should. That's what I was trying to get at there, is you don't have any issues that way. So I think I'd go more into the details of the engine itself, how it's running, do you have an injector issue, et cetera. That's where I'd go next.
And you said, as far as the thermostat, you said you got a GM thermostat, right?
There's two of them in it.
Right.
Right.
And they told you they put GM ones in it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I wonder, do you have like the receipt for that or anything like that?
Yes.
Bring that paperwork with you.
If you could.
Even have a box.
Yes.
Have the originals.
Perfect.
Just for the hell of it, I put it into water.
Perfect.
And it seems to be operating properly.
Perfect. Bring all that with you when you go see Dennis, because that's important too.
Yeah, because I'm wondering what the temperature was of the thermostat they put in.
Let's see, 182. I'm sorry, no, 82C and 85C.
Okay, that's Celsius.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just bring those with you when you can.
Yeah, bring all. You've got lots of information, Dave. This is, I think once somebody gets a scan tool on it and starts doing some diagnosis, it'll come to light what's going on. And I don't know why they didn't do that when. Of course, if you just took it in and said, "Hey, do a flush and put thermostats in it," that may be what they did, and I get that. But really, we're trying to fix why is it not heating up, not a thermostat issue per se.
Agreed, and I'm reasonably familiar with engines and so on, and especially this one. And I see no other item that could cause it except the thermostats.
Well, you can, believe it or not, on a diesel, the other thing that'll cause it to run cool is you could have injector issues or EGR issues too that are causing things to cool off more than they should be. So there are other things there that could be making it not run correctly, or I shouldn't say not correct, not making it heat up like it should.
Sounds good.
All right. Appreciate the phone call, Dave. And with that, we're going to come back in a moment, talk to Randy in Arvada. He's got some spark plug issues, and Art in Westminster has an exhaust noise. One line open, 303-477-5790. 5600. We'll be back right after this. Do not go away. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Extreme Auto, we're committed to providing the highest level of service possible to our customers. Our highly trained technicians are ASE certified and are dedicated to providing you with world-class service. We have years of experience working on both domestic and import vehicles of all makes and models, and will work with you to find cost-effective repair and maintenance alternatives. We don't have hidden fees, and we don't do unnecessary repairs. Serving Parker and the surrounding areas, come and see us, the professionals at Extreme Auto, and rest easy knowing you'll get quality work done for a fair price. Our promise to you: extreme service, extreme value, extreme satisfaction. Call us to schedule your appointment today.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4. Located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock, they're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at fortcollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at fortcollins4x4.com.
Know-how! Want to know how to make your engine look like $1 million? Step 1, don't spend $1 million. Step 2, just spend $2.99 at Napa for gunk engine degreaser and get a $2.99 mail-in rebate. Step 3, do the math. For next to nothing, you and your engine just hit the jackpot. Sweet. Conquer the job with Napa Know-how. Mail-in rebate available for the entire sale price at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 9/30/14.
I'm going to teach you right now how to find a good, honest mechanic. Ask about the warranty.
No.
No, because their warranty is their word. And Colorado Select Auto Care Centers all offer the best warranty in the state. 3 years, 36,000 miles on every repair. Always select a Colorado Select Auto Care Center at coloradoselect.org. 3 years.
I'm surprised we haven't had more date ones.
Oh,
I've had some pretty bad ones in my time when I first started dating my wife, but they're a little embarrassing.
All right, we're back. John Rush, your host. Going around the table, Craig Wallace to my left. If you guys are watching on YouTube, Craig Wallace from John's 4x4 on my left. Tony Ralston just joined us from Napa. He's in the middle over here. And Dennis Brewster, he's waving over here on the side.
Yeah, way on the
from
corner.
Extreme Automotive out in the Parker area. So, guys, thanks so much for being here. We'll get to Tony in just a moment. Let's get some calls answered. Art, you've been holding the longest. What's going on today, Art?
2000 Buick with a 3.8. Was told by the dealer that to have the exhaust system serviced because it was noisy, and evidently there's a rattle or something in the cat.
Okay.
I wanted to find out what is in there that could be rattling.
All of the insides of the cat that can come loose and break apart, and it can rattle around. And if that's the case, there's no service to it. It's a matter of putting a new catalytic converter back on.
And if I don't replace it right away, is there any thing that would damage the engine or the car in any way?
Not necessarily the car, but it won't be efficient on the emission side of the fence. When you go to do your emissions test the next time, it more than likely won't pass. And if you let it go too long, those particles that are inside of the cat can go and plug up the muffler. Then you got to put a muffler on it also.
I see. Okay, well, that's what I needed to know.
So if it were me, I would go if it's rattling around, go put a catalytic converter on it. Make sure it's a high-quality catalytic converter. So be careful if you're out, and this is for everybody else listening. If you're just calling around asking for prices on catalytic converters, you will get prices all over the map, and there are good cats and there are bad cats. And what I mean by that is you can go buy a cheap catalytic converter. It'll get you through emissions, but it will fail next year.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Art. So, Tony from Napa, do you want to add anything to that? You know as much about that as anybody on the cats. That's a big deal.
You're right, John. It's one of those things that the aftermarket or the entire industry. You look at what the OEs are doing, and a direct fit OE, what's supposed to go back on it, is probably your best bet.
Yep. And it's the most expensive.
You can do the universal one and get something cheap, but you're right.
Yep.
About a year, it's done.
Yeah.
You think about this guy. He went 14 years on that cat.
Right.
So you
put
go
a good
back,
cat back on it.
and go another 14
exactly
years.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, line open 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Randy is up next in Nevada. Randy, welcome. What's going on today?
Oh, I guess got a general maintenance question about platinum plugs. Will you notice a decrease in performance?
What are you driving to start with?
What's that?
What are you driving? Let's start there.
Oh, 97 Previa.
Okay.
And car runs great, except it doesn't have the power it used to have anymore. And spark plugs have been in there 75,000 miles, and I think, is that a contributing factor?
It may be, but I wouldn't change anything outside of what's already in the car itself. So if it's got a single platinum plug, which a 97 probably has, it's probably not a double platinum. I would not upgrade to a double platinum.
You would not go double or iridium either way?
No, I would go right back with what it came with.
Right.
And everybody in this room is shaking their heads in agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got 4 guys all telling you use the same plugs it came with.
The OEMs. Yeah.
Okay. And next question: plug wires. How many miles are they good for?
Your 97. How many miles do you have now?
242. They've been changed once.
Okay. If it was changed around 100 or so, they're due again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in that rule of thumb on spark plug wires for people listening, they're better than they used to be. Can you get 80, 90 out of them? That's pushing it. Typically, you're going to want to change them at 60 to 70K, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh, really? That often, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got a little education there. Appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir. Just plugs and wires. That's
okay, Randy. Appreciate the phone call.
No worst date? Yeah.
Nobody's got a worst date yet,
Yeah.
so we're going to have to go around the room here and get the worst dates. So line open, 303.
Tony came.
We'll ask Tony if he's got any worst dates. 303-477-5600. One line open is all. Call us. We'll get you right on air. And, yeah, that was a question of the day. What is your worst date ever? And it could be recently. Craig had a good point. It's like, man, you try to block those things out of your mind where you don't think about that stuff. But
or us married guys are just keeping our mouth shut.
I had shared one during the break that I won't share on air. But anyways, we all have one of those stories. 303-477-5600. Let us know what that is, or car questions or whatever you've got. By the way, Tony from Napa is with us until about noon or so. Tony?
I'm here for as long as you need me.
So he's gonna hang around with us. So if you've got a specific question for the guys from Napa, Tony is in charge of all of the locally owned, corporately owned, I should say, not locally owned, corporately owned Napa stores. So, Tony, how many stores does that consist of now?
I have a total of 12 retail locations.
Okay, so 12 stores in the Denver metro area. And we'll talk about some of that when we get towards the top of the hour on, what are some of those differences in stores, how do they operate, et cetera. We'll talk about that then. But right now, let's go to Eric, who's up next. Eric, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, John. Hey, actually, I have a date story, but it's not shareable on a family-friendly show.
I understand. That's okay.
Hey, on this 2000 Buick, my wife, just finished cleaning it and whatnot, and I am trying to find something. The interior, the seats are not leather, and they're not vinyl.
Okay.
But I noticed, using the wires and mothers, their leather cleaner, when you spray it on here, it will instantly discolor the leather. But it's not like discoloring it where it's pulling the clean off, pulling dirt off. The car's like a gray interior, but it turns the gray white, and then after you wipe it off, minutes later, it will kind of go back to gray. But what is there that's not going to do that? It's going to do it's
go
not
to
like
okay, and I was going to do this anyway, so you segued into this. Great, we'll talk about this more as we get through the show, and I'm going to ask forgiveness from Tony for saying this because Napa sells a full line of the same product. But what I have found personally that has the most complete full line of products, and they do it on a professional level, not that Meguiar's and the rest of them don't, but they're looking at more of a kind of a retail customer than somebody that's using this product every single day inside of a detail shop, etc. There's a website called chemicalguys.com. They have every single product known to man when it comes to cleaning and taking care of your vehicle because that's all they do.
Okay.
They have a complete interior product line from, literally everything from products to brushes to applicators to you name it. And my suggestion would be go on there or even call them, tell them your specific situation, what you've got going on with that particular seat. What do they recommend?
What was that again? Say it again.
It's called chemicalguys.com. And I can vouch for their products because I've used them for years. And by the way, I've used them all. And I'm not taking anything away from Meguiar's or Turtle Wax or any of the rest of the guys that are out there. Mothers, etc. They all build great products. The advantage Chemical Guys has is, again, they are make sure I explain this correctly. When you go see a lot of other products that are out on the market, and I won't name all the names, but there's a lot of other products that are out there. They're probably Chemical Guys relabeled. Now, that's not Meguiar's and Mothers and those guys, but a lot of the other, what I would call, subprime people that make products out there for the detailing industry, chances are it's a Chemical Guy product relabeled into somebody else's name. And I learned this by going to SEMA last year. I kind of had a feeling that's what Chemical Guys did for years and years, and I finally got a guy at Chemical Guys to really just be frank with me, and I said, listen, do you guys build product for a lot of other companies that are out there? Because it looks to me like the smell, the feel, the product mix that I've seen in other lines is exactly your product. And he said, well, give me some examples. So I named a few names off. He's like, yep, those are our products. So I'm not, again, not bad-mouthing anybody else's products. I'm just telling you how good their products are, given the fact that they relabel for a lot of other people that are out there. Okay, so I would call them on the phone and say, here's what I've got, here's the car, here's what I need to get done interior-wise, what do you recommend?
Yeah, because, it's like, I've got a full-service car wash that I use occasionally, and, they use top-of-the-line stuff for doing the detailing, and I was asking him, and I forget the name of the place that he recommended where they buy their stuff from. And I know it's an online service, too.
Yeah, it's more than likely. And if it's not Chemical Guys, it's probably somebody that Chemical Guys is servicing. I could put together, for example, a drive radio, array of products. Chemical Guys, if I buy enough, will even put my name on them. We could sell them, but it's all Chemical Guys product. That's essentially how they do it.
I know there used to be a place here in town that only sold detailing stuff, and somebody bought them out. And then they relocated. I just forgot where they relocated to, but that's what
Well, and again, you don't need it. Go call these guys. They'll have everything you need. And by the way, Napa's got a lot of the other stuff, too, on the regular, everyday stuff. But when you're looking for something specific where you don't know what's going to work and not going to turn those seats white again, you need some professional help. Call those guys and have them help you.
Okay.
All right, appreciate that. And, guys, with that, we're about done with this first hour of Drive Radio. One line open is all, 303-477-5600. When we come back, right after the news, Rob in Lakewood's got a question on 84 Plymouth 318. He's got an oil pressure issue. And then Paul's got I don't know if it's a motor question or an engine question. I'm assuming it's an engine question. So we'll get back to that as soon as we come back. Don't go away. Keep listening to the news, and we'll return in a moment. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
When you stand so near, I gotta lose my mind. There's nothing perfect that you wear.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Hi, this is Scott Watley. Join me every Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. for Sportsman of Colorado. Hunting, fishing, camping, guns, and ammo. We'll get you ready for the upcoming archery and muzzle-loading seasons. Oh, and we'll also let you know where the fish are biting. Check out our website, sportsmanofcolorado.com. If you love the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays 1 to 2 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. The United States continuing its efforts to build a broad-based international coalition to battle ISIS terrorists in Iraq and Syria. The Blaze Radio's Tom Peace has more.
Retired General Jack Keane thinks the U.S. will struggle with this coalition.
They are very concerned that the president, given pulling out of Iraq, not executing the airstrikes as a result of the chemical weapons red line being crossed, will not see this through. They watch him. They understand what you and I just spoke about in that litany of rejection of military proposals. They know full well that he may not be serious here despite the rhetoric. So they're not going to be all in. They're going to be guarded because they know they'll take risk with their own internal radical Islamic movement once they commit to do this.
Keen on Fox's The Kelly File. I'm Tom Peace, The Blaze News.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to The Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/, with original shows like Buck Sexton, is The Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking The Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
Freedom 560 with Ken Clark. Weekdays at noon on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. She'll do a quarter of a mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance and image, that's what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
All right, thanks for hanging on with us. We do appreciate it. We lost one caller. Please call us back. We'll get you right on air. And I realize we go to the news. It takes a little bit longer. But, hey, call us. We'll get you right on 303-477-5600. Quickly, I had a note from our tech up in Idaho, too. David emailed in about the guy with the Duramax and said he looked up T-stats on that real quick, and it should be an 87-97, but I don't know. I think what he pulled out is what he was telling us it had in it, not what went back in. But
that's why I wanted the boxes.
Sure. That's why we need the boxes.
That's why I need the boxes, and that's what I wanted.
Check
the receipt.
All that,
we need that because sometimes they can put in the wrong thermostats.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we'll look at all that and see what's going on. But at any rate, let's go right to the phones. Paul's been holding the longest. Paul, what's going on today?
Not much. I was wondering if you guys have heard anything about that place that's called Elio Motors. They're building a three-wheeled, and when I go on their website, there's never seems to be any clear information as to whether they're going to get someplace to build this or not. There seems to be very vague information on that.
I read an article, actually, believe it or not, I was in Arkansas, and I read something in the Bentonville newspaper when I was down in Arkansas that said they're getting very, very close to production. I think they're looking for, to your point, they're looking for a factory to go into, et cetera. But from what I read, and this was a local press person down in Arkansas that had written this article, they were talking about how they're not that far from getting that put together. Now, where they're getting their information from, I don't know.
Yeah, because I know they were going to get that place in Louisiana, I think, and that fell through, I think. But
yeah, I mean, you know as much as I do from what you've. I mean, when I read that day, that was more news than I had read on the websites, and so that was kind of the last thing that I had heard about it. So if I find any more out, I've been kind of tracking that. If I hear any more about it, I will definitely let everybody know.
Is there any way you could have that? I guess his name's Paul Elio on your show or something?
I could sure try. Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will. You know what? I will reach out to him, and he'd be actually a good one to have on either one of my shows or both, for that matter. So I will see what I can do with that.
Yeah, and what was the name of that newspaper? Maybe I'll.
It was the Bentonville. I don't know. It was whatever newspapers in Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart.
Alrighty, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, Paul. Appreciate that. So yeah, I'll reach out. And by the way, everybody listening, Elio is a three-wheeled motor. It's a car, but it's kind of built on a motorcycle type chassis, I guess you would say. It's similar to the Can-Am motorcycles, but it's full-bodied. You can put two people in it, front and back. You actually sit down in a seat, and they're going to be very inexpensive. You'll be able to buy these in I think they're the $5,000 to $7,000 range, and high miles per gallon, etc. So we'll see if they ever make it to market. Don't know if they will, but I'll keep you abreast. We'll see what happens. I think if they do ever get to market, I think they'll sell some cars. Are they going to sell as many as they're probably guessing they will? That's hard to say. Depends on how well it takes off. Is it a fad? Is it going to be something that people really catch on to and drive? It depends on what fuel prices do. Fuel prices stay where they're at today, probably not a big deal. They go up to $4 a gallon again, might get to be a bigger deal. So it's hard to say, but I'll keep you abreast of that, and I'll see what happens. All right, Julio's up next. Julio, what's going on? Welcome to Drive Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
Got a question for Tony. I got a 2006 F-150. Having some problems. There's a knock in the engine, but more importantly, what type of product am I going to use? There's a benefit to that engine to clean it out, all that gunk and grime. I don't know a whole lot about cars, but.
Well, Julio, what year is your truck again?
It's a 2006. I got about 100,000 miles on the truck right now.
What part?
I know that there's a lot of products that you can use that you can put in the gas tank, clean the engine out. What would you recommend?
Well, first I'd probably start with going with probably BG 44K. All the Napa stores sell it. Just dump it in your gas tank, run it on the highway for a while, get it hot, let it clean it out.
Yeah, and by the way, Julio, this is John. We on the show, excuse me, if you listen at all, we recommend 44K once the engine itself has been decarboned and you know things are good. So either as a maintenance or on a fairly new vehicle, twice a year. Put it in every 6 months. You don't need to do it any more often than that, but every 6 months. And yes, you can buy that all at your local Napa stores. But one thing I'll add to what Tony just said, make sure that you've had a good top engine cleaning done prior to just sticking anything in it to try to. Otherwise, you're not going to get it clean with the product you're putting in because there's too much there for any type of a product you add to the gas tank to really work effectively.
Okay, well, you answered one question about how often do I do that. Do I have to, is that a mixture that I have to have a full tank of gas? Does that help?
Read the can.
Yep.
Okay. It goes by gallons, and it depends on your gallon capacity of the truck, because I think they base that, guys, tell me if I'm wrong, 20, 30 gallons is what they base that on as far as a can per.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I think it's 30. It treats 30 gallons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So if for example, some of these guys with trucks that have, and you don't, but some of these guys will have a 40-gallon, some of the older Suburbans, trucks, et cetera, 40 gallons. You have to watch what you've got in it with your fuel level to make it not get too diluted.
Okay, perfect.
Makes sense?
I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
You're very welcome, Julio. Thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it. Let's. By the way, lines are open. Give us a call, 303-477-5600. We've got time for whatever you want to talk about. Your worst date, questions for Tony. We're going to cover some more detail stuff through the show today, which, by the way, Tony's got tons of product at the Napa stores to handle. And we'll talk even a little bit about the differences in Napa stores and how those work in a company-owned store versus an independently owned and operated store. But before we get into that, guys, let's finish up that last question. For everybody else listening, there may be wondering, wait a minute, John, you just said two things. You're going to clean the engine one way, but then you're going to add product another way. Let's talk about that for a moment to make sure everybody's clear on what I just said.
Well, for one thing, if you just put the 44K in and start driving it around, it's not going to get the heavy deposits that are already on the back of the valves, the top of the head.
So engine that's got 80, 90, that kind of miles plus, that's never been treated properly for a top engine cleaning. That can's not going to do a whole lot, is it?
No, and the fuels nowadays, they're doing a lot better with them. That's a given. But the problem that happens is you still have those deposits fire up in there, and they get hard, and they start absorbing the fuel a little bit. They change your mileage around. You need to get that cleaned out.
Yeah, the carbon is like a big fuel sponge inside the engine.
Yeah.
And people that have never seen the inside of an engine and see how that carbon looks, it is as hard as any material you can imagine to try to get out. So you really need a really strong solution to run through. And by the way, no matter what anybody tells you at a shop, on TV, online, on the radio, whatever, nothing will clean the inside of the combustion chamber, period. I don't care what product it is. Why? Because everything inside in the combustion chamber is super, super, super hot, and whatever's coming in there is getting burned. It's not cleaning anything. So when we tell you cleaning-wise, it's only what the fuel before it's combusted can actually treat. That's all that particular product or top engine cleaning, etc., that we recommend. That's all it can get to and treat. It will not treat the combustion chamber itself. Right, guys?
Right.
That's true. That one exception, you can do a little bit of cleaning with the good old GM top engine cleaner.
Correct.
But
that's a whole different process.
Whole different process.
Yeah. Now, what I was mentioning earlier to Julio is we have a product called MotorVac. In fact, Napa sells a solution that goes in the MotorVacs. They sell MotorVacs. You yourself are not going to want to go out and buy one because they're very, very expensive. But most shops today have the product I'm talking about. It's a matter of unhooking some fuel lines. You hook up the machine. The car runs on the machine with fuel and a heavy solution inside of the tank that you then run through, guys, what is it, 20, 30 minutes roughly?
45.
Okay, 45 minutes. Okay, so you run the car on it for 45 minutes. It's doing that cleaning, a deep cleaning, if you would. So it'd be like, let's do this comparison. You have your carpets at home, and occasionally you're going to run around with some Revive or something. You're going to spot the carpets here and there, and you're going to clean them up here and there, a couple times a year to make sure things are good. Every 2 or 3 years, when things really get soiled, you're going to have a carpet cleaner come in and really get a good, solid cleaning done on that carpet because it goes down deep. It sucks everything out. It puts it all back out into the truck, and they haul the dirt and crap off. That's the difference in what we're talking about, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we got a couple minutes before we go to break. By the way, line's open, 303-477-5600. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Anything you want to talk about, doesn't matter. You name it, we'll talk about it. Tony, explain to us the differences between a company-owned store and a just regular, we call them jobber stores, but an independently owned and operated Napa store, which to the motoring public, guy driving by, they probably don't know there's any difference. Is there a difference? That's the question.
There's a couple differences. Company-owned stores obviously are owned by a genuine parts company or Napa, and that's what I am charged to oversee on the sales side. Now, an independent store, now, grant you, they're not a franchise.
Right.
So there's no franchise fees, stuff like that. But an independent owner can really maximize what they want to do in the framework of NAPA and GPC. So on the exterior, no, you don't see a lot of differences at all. They run the same programs in most cases. Pricing should be right in the same line. Trucks may have the hat, may not have the hat. So yeah, there's really not a ton of differences because it is under the umbrella of what NAPA is.
Got it.
Yeah.
The biggest difference is that I've seen personally is you may find some different product mixes depending upon what store you go to. So there's times on the air where we'll recommend, hey, go to your local NAPA store and get X. Well, not every store may have X because if it's not something that's coming through the regular NAPA channel, nobody's holding a gun to that independently operated store's owner's head, saying you must carry X product. Right. Now, they'll recommend it, but they may carry a product outside of what NAPA carries at a corporate-owned store because they have that freedom to do so.
They have the flexibility, sure.
And the other thing that happens with that, though, with all the parts stores is there might be parts that move in the Boulder area. Right. It doesn't move in the Park area, so that store isn't going to stock that stuff.
Very true.
They'll get it for you if you need it because the warehouse stocks it, and so we can get it from them. But and it just takes a little bit longer time. But there is a difference in that, too.
Now, the other thing I will also add to what Tony's doing and us on the show here is sometimes we'll recommend something as a show that we know Tony and the corporate stores have because we have some control over that. We can get together with Tony and say, hey, we want to promote X.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to carry this in those 12 stores. Tony can't go out to the other, 50 other NAPA stores that are around our area and say, you guys must also carry this particular product. There's nothing under the NAPA mandate that makes them do that, right, guys?
Right.
Correct.
Okay,
but
just
most
the little differences is all.
Yeah, and most of the jobber stores, though, they're pretty open, though, because NAPA does have good programs, and so they're willing to do a lot of different things, too, if you go to those stores. Almost every parts store that I know, you can go to them and, hey, can you guys start stocking this if I start using a lot of it? And they will.
Very good point.
Yeah.
All right, guys, with that, let's go to a quick break. We come back. By the way, let's get some lines filled up. Larry's in there not doing anything. We need to get him busy. This whole date thing, by the way, was his idea. So this worst date, and he's got a really good story that if somebody doesn't call in, we're going to put Larry on air.
That's right.
And he can give his story because I don't think anybody's going to top Larry's story.
No.
So we'll either see if you've got something or we're going to hear from Larry when we come back here on Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush. Craig Wallace from Boulder up in John's 4x4 area. Or John's 4x4 in the Boulder area, I should say. Tony Ralston in charge of all of our local NAPA stores that are owned by NAPA themselves. And Dennis Brewster at Extreme out in Parker, just down the road from us here at the station. So we'll be back right after this. John Rush, KLZ 560.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers NAPA's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
There are better ways to let people know you've arrived than with those squealing brakes. That's why Napa has ProFormer brake pads for as low as $10.99. Just $10.99 to get back to what you're really known for. 80s hair metal and a killer horn. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 9/30/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at ginosautoservice.com. That's ginosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple. And it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower. A dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website. Look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Matt's rocking us out today. There we go. I'll get the mic on. It helps. But, yeah, great job, Matt. Appreciate that. Line's open, by the way, 303-477-5600. And Larry was just doing some checking on the Elio Motors site, and they show a site actually coming to Aurora at some point in the future. So I'll do my best. I'll see if I can get those guys to come on air and talk to us, or if they're in town even, see if we can get them to come on live. But I'll do my best to see if we can get them rounded up and get some more information from them. I would enjoy that. So 303-477-5600 is our number. And Tony, you've got all kinds of sheets in front of you there. What all did you what'd you bring in here for us?
Well, you know, driving up here today, you started talking about mice and worst dates. I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about. I would mention my worst date, but I guarantee my mom's listening, so I'm not going to go there. But so, just some programs that we got coming up for the month of October, which we do some promotional stuff with Intrepid Fallen Heroes every year.
Right.
So the month of October, we're going to have a camo bucket, and you buy that. You can come into any Napa store and buy that for $2.99. And anything that you want to put in that thing is 20% off.
Awesome.
You can fit it in that bucket. We'll give you 20 off.
Awesome.
And then along with that, for every $25 purchase, we're going to give you a camo hat. And for every hat we give away, $1 is going to go to that Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund.
Got it. And last year, I do know this. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Napa's contribution, by the way, to the Intrepid Fallen Hero Fund, it continues to build year after year after year, and you guys had one of the most successful years last year and gave, I'll have to look the number up, but it's a huge amount of money that went to the Intrepid Fallen Hero Fund last year.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number, but it's...
I'll look it up while you guys are talking, because it's a big number. I'll see if I can find it, because that's definitely worth talking about. So, and by the way, that's Napa participating, but it's also U.S. customers going in, and us as auto care centers, et cetera, you know, participating in that program, buying into it, doing the things we need to do to make sure that all that happens. So yes, hats off to Napa, but hats off to you guys, because you're the ones going in making this all happen in the first place. Guys,
Right,
that's really how it works.
Yeah, just got to go in there with the get one of those buckets and throw an engine in there, you know, see if you can carry it out. Yeah.
One or two handles on that bucket.
Yeah.
And I am trying my best to look up and see if I can give you guys the actual dollar amount that they gave. I don't know last year. I'll have to look it up, because every year it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'll try to get the exact dollar amount. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, I'm just reading everything that Tony just said is exactly the way that's going to work, and that'll be at 13,000 Napa stores 13,000 auto care centers nationwide that will also participate in that, plus what you can do at the store. So this is a joint effort that we're going to do. All right, Floyd's got a question on how to identify a good car. Floyd?
Yeah.
What do you got going on? What are you trying to find?
Yeah, my wife, she's looking at an Infiniti that's been completed with, they have the G37.
Okay. Which is now a G60.
G60, okay. And we're comparing that to the Lexus. We have an ES300.
Okay.
And
two different those are two different cars, by the way. And by the way, I've test driven both of those cars. I have video reviews on both of those cars on our website, drive-radio.com, where you can go to YouTube and just look at our videos. Just type in the search bar Drive Radio. I've got reviews on both of those cars, not the 37, but the G60 and all models of the ES300. That includes the hybrid version. Those are two different cars, which I'm sure you're aware of, right?
I think so, but my wife, she's kind of driving this.
Well, and let me explain to everybody listening why I say they're two different cars. The G60 is a two-door coupe, kind of a sporty little car, a little harder to get in and out of. The ES300 is Lexus's entry-level sedan. It's got great interior room. You can get it with a 3.5 engine. You can get in a hybrid model also. But it's basically a mid-size, larger than mid-size sedan versus that two-door coupe on the Infiniti. So they're not one and the same as far as the cars go.
Oh, okay.
You're not comparing apples to apples, is my point.
Okay, so what would be a four-door in Infiniti?
I got to go to the website. Give me 1 second. What'd you say?
G45, I thought.
Well, and they've changed. The reason
they changed that too.
Sorry, guys. The reason I have to look is because Infiniti just went through, and instead of naming everything they changed all the insignias is what I'm trying to get at. So it used to be, the G37. Well, now it's a G60, and so in their big top of the line luxury is a Q70, and so they've got all these different models that they've changed over to. And as would be having it, I'm going to Infiniti USA's website, and it will not let me navigate around because there must be something wrong with the website. So give me 1 second, and I will try to get that figured out. Hang on, let me go to the media site here,
Okay.
and I will get you an answer, because to compare the two, my point is they're not the same. So if you're looking for that little, what are you finding, Dennis?
Q70.
And I'm going to look at 2015 models, by the way.
Is the top of the line one.
Yeah, see, the Q60 still their two-door coupe. A Q50 is a smaller sedan. The Q70 is their big sedan. So I'm going to say probably the Q50 and the ES300. And I have not driven a Q50 to give you my impressions of that car, by the way.
The G sedan is the entry level, right?
Well, the Q40 is probably their entry level, I'm going to say.
Well, they got a G. It looks like they got a G sedan.
A G70 is their big car.
But they got a G.
And the G60 is their coupe, G50 or Q50, sorry, and I didn't mean G, I meant Q's on those, because everything now has changed to a Q. There's no more G's.
No more G's.
I thought they had a G.
Nope, all the G's are gone. Everything is a Q now.
Because I'm looking at a G sedan, they say.
It's got to be it's older than 2014 then.
Really?
Because I'm looking at the press site as we speak.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was looking
at. And everything now, Floyd, is a Q.
Okay,
I see all the Qs.
Okay, I misspoke. We have a ES330. It's 2006.
Okay, the 330 will be more. Yeah. Okay, now you're talking. They're comparable cars.
Okay.
So what's your biggest question? What are you trying to figure out between the two cars?
I was trying to find out. We know that we've had good service with the Lexus. We've had it since new at 2006.
Okay.
So we're just looking to. My wife, she's not satisfied with it right now. So just looking at, she was looking to Infiniti, so we could probably compare to see how it compares to the Lexus. Would definitely has to be a front-wheel drive car, whatever we get for her.
Okay.
And,
which the Q60 is not. You can do an all-wheel of that, but you can't do a front wheel only. You can do them in an all-wheel drive.
You had to go all-wheel now.
Right.
Okay. So.
And just real quick, nothing wrong with Infiniti. It's a good brand. They've done well. The reality is there really isn't. There's not. In today's world, there's really not a bad car made. I've driven some Kias lately. I just got done driving a Hyundai Genesis. Just throw a quick review out on that. That's a full-size sedan from Hyundai. But Hyundai in the luxury car market, you would not have put those two names in the same sentence several years ago. You can today.
Okay.
They have come a long ways and have done a very, very good job of that.
That's on that website.
That's good to hear. I know you've said that there's not a bad car out there today, so just narrowing it down, we had to look at a Q now. You said a Q50 now.
Q, and then Dennis has got on his website a G. What's that, Dennis?
Oh, I just
G50.
G sedan.
Now, and then by the way, I'm looking at the 2015 models, so I don't know if there's any difference. Are you at 15 or 14s?
I just went up to Infiniti USA and hit it, and that's what it pulled up.
And again, I'm on the press site, and that tends to be a little bit different sometimes, and I'm only looking at 2015 models. Regardless, Infiniti builds a great car. There's not a bad car made today. It really comes down to fit, finish, what fits you, what do you like driving, what style are you looking for. Another good car in that smaller sedan, if you're looking for a sedan versus a coupe, is the new Audi, A3 and A4s is actually a really great car also.
Yeah, I've seen those. They seem to be so much smaller than the ES series.
The 4 would be more like your 300. The A3 will be smaller than the 300.
Yeah. Okay.
But, real quick to interrupt you, John makes a really good point. You have to go sit in it and drive it, because when you sit in the car, you're going to want to see how the dash looks with you, how the seat feels with you, how getting in and out of it, because it's different from you. Each car is going to be different. You really need to put your butt in it and see.
No, you're right. In fact, the review I just did this last week, I did a 200 S, which is the new Chrysler little sedan they just came out with, totally redesigned, built on an Alfa Romeo chassis. Great car, by the way. But I said right in that review the exact same things that Dennis just said, that don't rely on my reviews or anybody else on YouTube or what you read in Car and Driver or anything else, because everybody fits a car differently, and how it works for you is not going to be the same as the next guy. That's why we have all the different makes and models of cars that we have, because every one of them fits everybody a little differently. And what you may like, the next person may not, and some people may like the way an Infiniti feels and drives. I know guys that's all they'll buy. They'll never even look at a Lexus. I, on the same token, I've driven them all, and you know what? They all have pros and cons. Every single one of them. It's just a matter of how they fit you. Me personally, one of the big things with me is how do the seats fit me. I've got a bad back. Does the seat fit well? Does it have the right lumbar? Does it work right? Because if it doesn't, I'm not going to be able to drive that car and own it. So it comes down to you driving it.
And actually, John and I have kind of similar tastes as far as that goes. And I have the same situation. Sometimes my back bothers me, and I can't sit in too long. And we can sit in the same car, and I might not like it, and he will. Yep. Or vice versa.
Well, and I'll give you just a side note. Driving a Prius right now. Drove it down here today. And everybody's laughing. Yeah, it's a box, but it's 50 miles to the gallon, and they serve a purpose. Nobody likes them, but it serves a purpose, and they sell a bunch of them, and they're going to continue to sell them because they work, and they work really well for what they're designed for. Would I buy that car? The only reason I would not buy that car is the seats are some of the most uncomfortable seats I've ever sat in. I don't know why, but just me personally, I drive that car for 45 minutes, and I'm sore getting out. Now, is that a bad mark on the car? No, it's just me fitting the car just doesn't work. Can I go drive some? I can drive that ES300 all day long with no problem. Same manufacturer, by the way. Lexus, Toyota, all same ownership, just two different cars in their lineup, and they just fit you differently.
Yeah. Well, I sure appreciate your input.
You're very welcome, Floyd.
Yeah, we'll check into it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, and check all our reviews out there on drive-radio.com, and I get them on YouTube faster. YouTube is so quick. I can go take a video, edit it, throw it right up. When I go to the website, I have to now take the video. I gotta load it. I gotta put some text in there. I gotta make the page look right. It just takes time. I can get them on YouTube the day I do the video. I can't do that quickly on the website. So go to our YouTube channel, Drive Radio. All of our reviews are there. We've got over, I think, almost 100 reviews now on there, 100 videos, I should say, on there, where you can look at just about anything you want to look at. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Ken, stay with us. We'll come back and talk about your 95 Chevy pickup. You're up next here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fit service procedures and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web .com.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment, or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
Worn out shocks and struts make your car handle like a banana boat being towed by a super tanker. Fix that pavement pontoon now and get 4 qualifying Napa or Rancho shocks and struts for the price of 3 with a mail-in rebate offer. So stop sloshing around and conquer the job with Napa now. Mail-in rebate offer for Visa prepaid card in the amount of the lowest cost unit at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 10/31/14.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, and we are back, and I think we figured out our Infiniti dilemma. They are now in the U.S. all using Qs. Dennis's site was a worldwide site, so we're both correct. They're using Gs in other countries. Everything in the U.S. is now a Q. and they start with Q40 and then go on up into whatever line you're looking at. Why they did that, guys, I do not know. A Q40 replaces a Q37 or a G37. Go to their website. It'll explain it. It's not working right now, but once it does, go there and you'll figure it out. Now, don't base whether you buy an Infiniti based on whether the website works today or not, because everybody has technical difficulties from time to time. But both great cars, by the way, Infiniti or Lexus. I love them both. They just are different, to Dennis's point, different looks, different feel, different everything from one to the other. You could blindfold me, put me in either car, and I could tell you what I'm driving, because I've driven enough of them now to know. That's the differences when you climb inside to kind of get the touch and feel and all of that. Ken, you're up next in Westminster. What's going on with your Chevy?
Yeah, John, good morning.
Good morning.
When I bought it new, and it had a recall on the windshield wiper. They would intermittently not work.
Yep.
And it's doing it again.
Okay.
Seemed to me there was, I can't remember what they did to it, but do you have any idea what might be causing it?
As I recall, I think it was the pulse module that they had to recall, or had a TSB campaign, something along those lines. But the pulse module is the most common failure, but based on the fact that we're looking at a vehicle that's several years old now, you could actually have a wiper motor issue and or a pulse board issue.
Okay, so where would that board be incorporated in the motor? Or?
It is, yes.
So you'd have to change the whole...
No,
you can buy from Napa just the pulse board by itself.
Okay.
Or you can buy a motor with a pulse board, I believe.
I think you can do it. I think you can buy a motor without pulse board, or an assembly.
Yep.
I believe.
I think so.
And Tony's saying yes, so.
Okay.
And based on where you are with the years on the vehicle, I would say it's probably worth your while just to replace both.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just got back from a long trip with it, and it started doing that, and just intermittently they won't work, and then they do work. So
sure.
And,
well, the best case scenario is to have it properly diagnosed, so you're not throwing good parts away and putting yourself back in harm's way. But nonetheless, I would obviously recommend getting it diagnosed properly and then replace the needed part.
Okay.
And that's not a big, as you know, Ken, that's not a huge fix. That's pretty simple, something you could do even.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just right after I bought it, they recalled it, but I just couldn't remember what exactly it's been.
Yep. No, that's what it was, and that was very, very common. Yeah, and that was a big recall they had back in those days.
Yeah.
Fixed a lot of those back in the day.
Okie-doke.
All right, Ken. Good seeing you.
All right.
All right. Take care. I'll see Ken over the weekend. I go to church with Ken, so he's a good guy. Enjoy talking. Tony actually probably knows Ken's probably met him a few times. Ken's a great guy. So, those were a big deal to fix back in the day. And by the way, if Ken, you're still listening, what we just talked about, even as assembly, they're not that expensive.
No.
You can buy. And if it were me, I would. To Craig's point, I would just put a whole assembly in it and be done with it. It'd be a whole lot easier when it's all said and done. All right, Tony, what else you got over there you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the industry in a whole.
Okay.
We're looking at, and you guys chime in too, because you guys own the shops, and you're probably seeing what we're seeing too. But the state of the aftermarket industry, we get all this information from several different places, magazines and companies that put the information, the data together. But we're looking at the average age of a vehicle is 11 plus years. Do you guys agree that we're seeing that or more?
Yeah.
They're staying around longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Miles driven, in 2012 was up 0.9%, 2013 up 0.6%, and then year to date, from what we're seeing, 2014 got a little bit better, just over 1% those. And then the gas prices have fluctuated. So what we're seeing too is the maintenance out there, the deferred maintenance, and this is estimated, is around $60 billion nationwide.
Wow.
And what this does, and you guys can attest to this, that when, and I'm guilty of it too, when my car needs maintenance, take it to a shop, and you kind of know what you can afford, so you only want to fix what what has to be fixed.
Right.
So what that maintenance, that deferred maintenance is doing is it's really costing you more in the long run, right? You want to maintain that vehicle, whether it's, new wipers every 6 months or, new tires or whatever the case may be. That deferred maintenance is a huge thing, and it's costing me as a consumer as well more money in the long run, because we all know if we don't replace those brakes, the calipers might be going bad, and I don't want to do the calipers yet. And then 6 months down the road, the calipers hang up. It's just more money I got to spend to get it fixed. So, for everybody listening, just give the shops a call if you're running into some of that stuff. But that's what we're seeing as a whole aftermarket, not just Napa, not just everybody else. But
no, and I'll reiterate what Tony's saying. That's been a problem. It's been ongoing for years, and we go through recessions or even where we're at right now. And no, the economy is not rolling along as well as everybody claims it is. Sorry, I talk about that on my show during the week every day. The press and the left especially want to tell everybody that the economy is just really cranking along, and the reality is it's just pent-up demand that's gone on for so long that some people have just had to break down and spend money. To Tony's point, there's some things that you get to the point you just have to fix it. You just can't put it off any longer, so you're just forced into doing it. That in and of itself generates economy, folks. It just does. It just generates it. So Tony makes a great point, though. There's still a lot of additional maintenance, pent-up demand that's out there that just hasn't been spent on. And I see it in commercial buildings. I see it in homes. I see it in cars. It's everywhere. And eventually, our economy will just roll regardless of how bad some politician screws it up. It will, just because we're so big and there's so many fingers going on inside of it that it will keep going. The better off we are in getting politicians that understand that and make it go the right way definitely does help. Less regulation, etc. I mean, Tony can attest to that even inside the stores. The amount of things that you have to do inside of a new store to get the doors open, to get things going, through a city council, through the feds, etc. It's just astronomical, and those are the things that need change. But to Tony's point, there are a lot of pent-up demand, or there is a lot of pent-up demand, I should say, inside of the industry when it comes to just things that aren't. I see them when I'm driving down the road. I look over, I'll be in rush hour traffic, and I'll look over, and I can spot, that car needs 5 things, and I haven't even opened the hood yet. I'm just looking from the external. Right. I'm looking at windshields, wiper blades, mirrors, tires, things that I can visibly see, taillights, things that are, I'm just looking over saying, well, there's about $500 right there. Guys, it's not hard to figure this stuff out. It exists, and I'm one that says the longer this stuff goes, the more expensive it even gets for us as taxpayers, because for every breakdown on the side of the road, there's a cost to that. I'm yet to figure out what that is. I'm trying to do the math to know, when it's rush hour traffic and there's a car jammed up because it's got a flat because the tire was bald, or there's an accident because a brake light didn't come on and somebody ran into somebody.
Or a ball joint.
Our ball joint fails, or I just keep going down the list.
Yeah.
What does that cost the rest of us that are on those roads that day? I don't know those figures. They're huge, I'm sure.
Well, I see it on the other end of that is when the car gets into the accident because of it drops the ball joint, slides over to the other lane, hits head on.
You're picking it up.
And we're picking it up, and we find out, well, that ball joint's been bad for how long?
Right.
And we've seen brakes come in, cars get in accidents, and you look at it, and the rotor's almost gone.
That's right.
And it's like, are you kidding me? And we can sit here and talk about it all day, Craig, because we see it day in and day out where people say, I don't need that maintenance, or I didn't have to do anything to my car. Well, it isn't because you didn't need it.
You just chose not to.
Right, because the savings on it is huge.
Right.
But in the long run, when you delay those things, the cost of a repair can go from $200 to $1,500 in a heartbeat.
Exactly right. Everything Tony's saying on that is exactly right.
Yeah.
I appreciate him bringing that up.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're up next. You've got a question on batteries. What's going on today?
Well, John, hello again. Hello to Dennis, everybody else out there.
Thanks for calling in, Ryan.
Yay. It's kind of ironic you're talking about the maintenance on vehicles. I've got my car in Dennis's shop right now because I did a nice, nasty curb check.
Oh, boy.
And ended up blowing out the tire, dinged up the rim, thankfully did not bend it. But I got taken care of at the tire shop, 4 new tires, and I got the car in Dennis's shop for alignment now. So
great.
I'm hoping there's no more damage. But I cannot stress enough what you're saying as far as preventative maintenance goes. I too hear these people say, "Well, I've got 300,000 miles on my Toyota," and then finally the engine went out. I said, "Well, that's great. Congratulations, but just think about how many more miles you could have gone if you would have done this and that and that according to the manual."
Right. Good point.
Why is it so hard for people to understand that? The manual's there for a reason.
Because, Ryan, I have an answer for you.
Okay.
Because it costs money. And we all know in this industry especially, and I've been in it for my entire life, there are two things in life people hate the most. Going to the dentist.
Yes.
And getting their car fixed.
So you're leaving out taxes.
And yeah, that's a given. But the dentist and the car, you know, they both inflict pain. Now the car is not inflicting pain physically, but it inflicts pain emotionally, you know, financially, etc. And so what people don't understand, and Ryan, I think you're kind of calling in and attesting to this. If you do the maintenance, there's actually less pain because you can plan for it versus it just happening all of a sudden.
Exactly. And you've said on the show before, take a little bit of money, put it into a savings account, a little bit of money out of every paycheck, put it into a special account that you're not going to touch. It's just going to be automotive related.
Yep.
It's not going to be as big of a shock to you. Yeah, there's the unexpected things that happen from time to time. But take care of the equipment. Take care of your equipment. Take care of your car. It's going to last.
Yep,
it's going to last. And, all right. Well, the question I have is regarding, this will be right up your alley, John, is regarding batteries in smaller equipment like lawn tractors, snow blowers, and stuff. You know, for starting, is there a difference in maintaining those as compared to, say, automotive batteries? And also, what kind of maintenance would be required? You know, as far as battery, topping up battery acid, what type of battery acid? Where do I get it? And just your general opinion on that.
Well, and if you're talking the small engine, you know, ATVs, things that you put away, etc., I am a big believer in pulling the battery, getting it in where it's warmer. If you can get a trickle charger, Napa sells the little trickle chargers all day long, the battery tenders we call them, and I think that's actually the name of them. If you go to Napa and say, I need a battery tender, they're going to look up and give you several different options. I'm a big fan of bringing those in out of those pieces of equipment, bringing them in the house, or at least storing the vehicle or the piece of equipment where it's warmer, where you're not going to have the temperature variations. Yeah, do make sure that it's filled up. If you use, you don't have to put acid in them. If it's got a decent amount of acid and you're just trying to top off, just use some distilled water, no minerals in it, etc. Top the battery off that way, and you should be in good shape.
Perfect. There's a few snow blowers that I help work on from time to time.
Yep.
I'm wanting to check the battery status on that.
And Napa, by the way, makes a great little AGM type battery for those applications that works fantastic.
Well, all right. For the ones that are going to need to be replaced, I will take them over to Napa and get a replacement.
Yeah, they work great. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You betcha, Ryan. Appreciate the phone call. And guys, we got to take a quick break. Let's do that, Matt. We'll come right back. Calls are coming in, 303-477-5600. A little over an hour left of Drive Radio is all. Get us your call. We'll get it answered as soon as we can. We'll be back right after this here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your garage is filled with awesome things, like your collection of unused sporting goods and an odd assortment of scrap lumber. Dump it all. You'll need the room, because Napa has Mobil 1 synthetic oil for $5.99 a quart. Yep, for $5.99 a quart, you can fill your garage with Mobil 1. Now that's a good use of space. Conquer the job with Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 9/30/14.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet 1. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer. And we are back. Got a few minutes left of this second hour of Drive Radio. 1 hour left is all, and time flies whenever we're on this show. It's the fastest 3 hours of my week.
Yep.
It definitely is. So,
and if I can add something to you guys that are listening out there about this maintenance we've been talking about, a lot of times if you come into our shop, like especially mine, and I'll speak for mine, and I know the other guys in the group does this.
Yep.
If you come in for a simple oil change, say, sometimes people get a little upset because we'll give them a list of things that we see that's going on with the vehicle.
Right.
We're not trying to say that you have to buy that you're going to run into a bust.
It's information.
It's information only. We're just trying to educate you on your vehicle what's going wrong.
Right.
And what you need to be looking at. We'll even tell you later on down the road, you might have 3-4 months to look at this, and we need to check this for the next oil change or whatever. We're not trying to force things down your throat.
No, in fact, you may look at that and decide, wow, maybe it's time for me to do something different here.
And we'll even tell you, I would recommend you getting another car, or you might be wanting to look at this. This is going to be an expensive thing.
Right.
But we're not trying to force that, but we're trying to educate you, because I'd hate to see a customer go down the road, get in an accident, or go to another store to get tires put on and find out that they needed brakes.
What Dennis is talking about, and we're going to talk to Don next when we come back. Remind me, guys, I'm going to talk about relationships and why that word is so key. We'll talk to Don first, though. Don, what's going on today?
Hi, gentlemen. How you doing today?
Doing great.
I got a question for you. I've got a 2001 Nissan Xterra, and I listened to you earlier about putting additives in the internal part of the engine.
Yes.
About cleaning the outside. It's not like the old days where you can just pull the trigger cap, wipe the points, and go.
No.
Is there anything I have to not do when I wash the engine?
With the later model electronic engine vehicles, my recommendation is, unless it's just totally super grimy that you really feel the need to do something, I wouldn't do anything more than maybe once a year, once every other year, and I wouldn't do much at all, just because there's so many sensors, so much stuff that just doesn't need to have water on it. The dirt's better than the water.
Okay, yeah. Usually I just wipe it off and do the best I can with it. Spray and wipe and no water. And I got another question for you. Do you do your shops, Napa, like this, just Colorado only, or are there shops or things like this in Texas?
Well, our Colorado Select group that we have here in Denver, that's unique to us here in this Denver Front Range area. Napa Auto Care, they are nationwide, 13,000 locations between the collision side, the truck side, and the automotive side. And you can find those by dialing 1-800-LET-NAPA. But there's only a few other conglomerates like us around the country that do what we do here in the Denver market. Put on a radio show, do things internally to help each other out, share resources, tools, etc. There's a few of them around, but you will not find that in every little, you won't find that in every town across the country.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Could possibly think about relocating to Texas, and well, I'd sure like to find something like you guys have down there, because I've been going to Dorsey or Colorado West for a lot of years down there, and I really like them. They help me out. And
I tell you what, Don, if you give us a heads up ahead of time of where you're going between, myself, Dennis, Tony, we can typically figure out a way of who's near you down there that's going to be good, that we can get you a good referral for that.
Or you can go into the Napa store down there and say, who's your big group that I can go to?
Who's your go-to guys?
Yeah, and they'll tell you too. And real quick, back to your other thing about the engines. If sometimes cleaning them, as far as that goes, is ask the shop that you're taking it to. Ask Dorsey if they'll clean it.
That's right.
Because we'll do that, and everybody else, and we know how to do it.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I really like those people. I go in there all the time for information. And in fact, I had a taillight lens I couldn't get off, didn't want to break it, so I went in there and they changed everything for nothing.
Good, that's what we want to hear.
Great shop.
That's the difference between us and a lot of the other shops that are out there.
You bet. You got that right. And
Don,
I agree 100%.
Appreciate your phone call, Don.
Okay, thanks.
And we'll help you when you move to Texas. And by the way, you keep listening. You move to Texas, you can still hear us. And those of you that are out of our area, you already know this, but you can listen on 560thesource.com. You can also see us on YouTube Live, or you can use the TuneIn app on any of your smartphones. It works for Android or for iPhone. Just go to 560, AM 560. You'll find it, bring it up. When I'm not around, I listen to it all the time that way. It works fantastic, and it's an easy way to stay in touch.
I did a little bit earlier. I was just messing around making sure it was working, and it pulled up as we were talking. I had to hurry up and click my phone.
No, it works fantastic. So if you're out of the area, use the TuneIn app. And there's a lot of times where I'll be out doing something. I want to hear what's going on KLZ. I'll pull that up, and off we go. So Mark and Littleton, you are next. What's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to find out, when is the ethanol coming back into the gas, because last year the ethanol destroyed both of the carburetors on my vintage BMWs and a blow machine and a weed whacker. When's it coming back?
Well, the ethanol is there all of the time. The concentrate changes. Really, it's 10%. It really doesn't even change, during the winter. We don't have that much different of a winter blend than we do a summer blend anymore. The MTBE they used to use years ago, that's gone, but we have 10% in everything you're buying right now.
So it didn't kick up at all last year when we had that brown haze thing going on?
It kind of went away.
They're trying to push E15. But E15 will be marked on a pump, and you'll know ahead of time whether you're buying E15 or not. And do not buy E15 on anything that's old, vintage, or your lawn and garden equipment.
No, and I had a friend of mine that sent me a YouTube thing and told me that in Iowa and Ohio and some parts of Nebraska, they're already selling E15, and they're having people destroy cars with it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a misconception about some of that. On the older cars, that could very well be the case. There's a lot of hype around E15, even on the right side of the fence, politically speaking, and I'll just say it right now. I don't think E15 is as big of a problem in modern everyday cars as it is for older vintage vehicles. And yes, you do not want to use it in a small, lawn tractor, weed eater, those sorts of things. You're not going to want to put it in your boat. You're not going to want to run E15 specifically in that kind of an apparatus, or anything that's older than probably, I want to say 2008, 2009, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, I switched over to racing fuel. I'm running racing fuel in my motorcycle, and I'm running into all my lawn equipment, and it's a world of difference just the way it operates with racing fuel.
You can also buy in town non-ethanol fuel. I think it's Bob's Conoco is one of the places, and there's a website. Right. It's actually linked on our website, drive-radio.com. I put a listing there of all the non-ethanol stations around.
Right. I'd like to give a nod out to Geno's.
Sure.
I mean, every time I go into Geno's, they do wonderful work. I'm taking care of an old 02 Chevy with a 5.3 in it, and they've done wonderful work for me with transmission, and I had that motor vac done, and that really changed the way my car operated.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Just as running, it's just idle, smooth, and whisper clean.
It's awesome.
The other thing, a couple of years ago when I first escaped from California, you were talking about older trucks and the possibility of replacing oxygen sensors and mass air. And I did that on my old 02 truck, all three of the oxygens and the mass air, and I picked up a mile a gallon around town.
And they get lazy. Yeah, they're a part, just like anything else on the car that gets old, gets lazy, and by replacing those, you can do that, most definitely.
Yeah,
yep.
And that's, I'm synthetic. The entire drivetrain of that old truck is synthetic, and it just keeps chugging along.
That's awesome.
That's good maintenance.
Yep.
That's good maintenance.
Keep it up.
Hey, program, I appreciate it so much.
You bet. You appreciate it very much. With that, we got to take a break. We got hard news break coming up. Can't change that around. It is what it is. We'll be back. Bill's got a comment on our last caller just as soon as we come back. Don't go away. Dennis Brewster, Tony Ralston, Craig Wallace, and I am your host, John Rush, here on Drive Radio. Don't go away. KLZ 560.
A lot of money coming here and wasting all my time. Cause when you're standing oh so near, I gotta lose my mind. There's nothing better than that you wear. There's all the ribbons in your hair. And a lot of money coming in.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. The president's strategy to battle ISIS in Iraq and Syria, still saying no combat boots on the ground in the fight. The Blaze Radio's Tom Peace with more reaction.
Retired General Jack Keane calls the president's plan for forces on the ground a weak hand.
The problem we have is our ground offensive campaign is a weak hand in Syria with the FSA, the Free Syrian Army. That's why they need to be armed, equipped, and trained, but more robustly than the president's plan, and we're obviously playing a weak hand in Iraq.
He says the military wants to strengthen that hand.
With air-ground controllers and advisors down at the lowest level, special ops taking down ISIS leadership, and a backup plan if that fails with U.S. combat brigades and coalition brigades. Mm-hmm. So we've got to strengthen that weak hand on the ground, which is the essence of this problem.
Keane on Fox News.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio. with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to The Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking The Blaze with you. This is The Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking The Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
Randy Corcoran at 5, Laura Ingram at 8. Monday morning on KLZ 560.
It's a mighty fancy automobile. Oh, she's a real road king, all right. 0 to 60 in 7.5. She'll do a quarter of a mile, 13.40. 390 horsepower. 500 foot-pounds of torque. Whatever that is. Performance and image, that's what it's all about.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. This is Drive Radio. All of your automotive questions are just one phone call away. 303-477-5600. Drive Radio is made possible by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. To find one near you, go to drive-radio.com. Now, Drive Radio on KLZ 560.
All right, thanks for listening. Last hour, Drive Radio. Call us. We'll get your questions answered as fast as we can. If you've got something specific for Tony Ralston, he is our local Napa guru. By all means, call us and we'll get it answered. 303-477-5600. Right to the phones. Bill has a question on, or sorry, not question, comment on our last caller. Bill, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Hey, plus I got a comment on the mice. Anyway,
okay, perfect.
What I do with my outdoor, my lawn equipment stuff is I go down there on Ralston. I've called before, and I get the Sunoco 100.
Right.
And I put some sea foam in it.
Yep.
Because I mean.
Yep. Good way to do it.
All my outside stuff.
So you're getting it at Hill Petroleum, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every couple of months I go by and buy a couple of gallons.
Yeah, perfect.
And at least I don't have to spend $350 on a new lawnmower.
No, and it's really important. The smaller the engine, the more important that really is.
Oh, I went round and round on all my stuff.
Yep. No, you're right. I mean, I know I've got tons and tons of small engine equipment, and yeah, it's a big battle constantly.
Hey, with the mice though.
Yes.
This is about, I think it was about 1978 and 1979. We were driving around up in Dinosaur National Monument, up in the northwest corner by Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but we were drinking beer and stuff, you know, so I get out to go get rid of some. So my wife drives behind the wheel, like, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, and she's going to leave me there. I go, good, you drive. So she's driving, bouncing up and down. It's a two-wheel drive truck. All of a sudden, the truck stops. I go, come on, let's go. She goes, it won't move. Vroom, vroom. I get out, and the drive shaft's on the ground.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, so the next weekend, and I was living up in Greeley, so I had to get back to work. So that week it snowed, so it sat there the whole winter. And the only thing the mice did was they gnawed away on the knobs on the radio.
On the radio?
Just one of the knobs.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a long time ago. But, you know, that's all they did. Nothing, no wiring or anything. I went back there with a spark plug thing to pump up my tires and drove on out.
Interesting. That's amazing.
Yep.
Good stories.
Sat there all winter,
Yeah.
buried in snow. That's what probably saved it.
That probably is what saved it. You're probably right.
I thought maybe that was going to be your worst date.
The worst date?
Well, no. Okay, you went further on that one. Let's see. Let me just think how this went. So anyway, so the spring came along, and I went back there with a Vega, an old Vega.
Yeah.
Had a tow bar, and it was my wife's car. She goes, "Don't get stuck." Well, I went back too soon, you know.
Oh.
I got buried up in the pumpkin on the back.
Yep.
And the mud's just slinging all over the place. I couldn't get out. And the only way I got out is some sheep farmer came by with a truck jack and, you know, jacked me up, and I got out with that.
Wow.
But that night when it got stuck, so coming out of Dinosaur, there ain't no one to hitchhike from.
Right.
Okay. I should write a book on this stuff. Anyway, so we get to Vernal, I think, and we knew what the bus schedule was because I used to take the bus every once in a while. I go, you stay here, I'll go get your Volkswagen, and plus we had a dog. So I go back and get her. We're driving back to she lived in Roosevelt. The Volkswagen throws a rod. The engine's on fire.
Oh no.
So there we are in the middle of nowhere. You know how dark it is up.
Yep.
With me and her and the dog, with the car going out.
On fire.
It was going out. So finally some guy picked us up and dropped us off.
Wow.
But
Good stories.
The whole day was a disaster.
Good. Yep, we've had some of those.
Yep.
Hey, Bill, good stories. Appreciate your calls. We got to move along. Let's go to Kelly, who's up next in Denver. Kelly, welcome. What's going on today?
I got a question about batteries. I distilled water in it. Can you overfill that, or do you have to be careful?
Oh, I missed that part. Say it again.
When you put the distilled water in the cavities there.
Yes.
Can you overfill it, or
yes,
is that critical?
You can overfill it.
Yeah, you can overfill them.
And then just take out the extra soak it up with a rag or something.
Well, yeah.
It'll ruin the rag if you do that. Paper towel would be best.
That part's fine, but
you don't want to get it on you because it'll
it's acid.
burn.
Yeah, it'll burn you, burn your skin, burn you. It'll eat holes in your clothes.
We use like a turkey baster or something like that to suck it up and then rinse them out.
Right.
Okay, and just below the top of it then.
Correct.
Yeah, there's
because it'll vent, and you don't want it to be overfull, or it'll vent more acid than you need to.
And then what happens is, what a lot of people will see that they'll overfill them, and then the acid spits out, and then it starts eating the top of the battery starts getting corrosive, and it starts eating the cables and everything else.
We actually now have a fix for that too. We have this product called Thermoil. It's being sold through the Colorado Select facilities. I need to talk to Tony about this one of these days. It's a product that you can actually put in the battery itself, and it puts a film of oil on top of the acid that doesn't allow the acid to vent, so you really don't have to service the battery anymore after that.
Oh, is that? I like that.
It works very well. Call any one of our Colorado Select facilities. They know about it. We can get it handled for you. A lot of guys are starting to stock it now, so that's an easy fix also.
Okay, what was that stuff called again?
It's called Therm Oil. THERMOIL.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Willie. He's up next. We have a line open, 303-477-5600. Willie, what's going on today?
I have an 03 Volkswagen Passat 1.8 turbo with 115,000 miles, and for some reason I cannot find it's leaking antifreeze from the car, and I can't figure it out. I did see the reserve. It has a little hole in the bottom. I believe there's a hose that goes in there. Is that where my leak is coming, or do I still have to really inspect the leak? And also, another question, do I have to use the Volkswagen antifreeze that they sell at the dealership, or can I just flush the whole vehicle and just put regular, Prestone?
No, you want to keep the same type of coolant that was in the system originally. That does not have to come through Volkswagen. Napa sells a coolant that'll work just fine for that, but you need to put the same coolant back in that it has now. And by the way, your Napa store in Erie can help you with that.
As far as your coolant leak goes, we'd almost have to have a look at it because I don't, without seeing it, to be honest with you, you have to pressure test it and find out. And leaks are something you really want to get fixed because if you don't fix it, eventually you could do a lot more damage.
And Willie, your closest store to help you with that, or center to help you with that, is Craig's from John's 4x4 right now. And even though it says John's 4x4, they can work on your Volkswagen just fine, find you a coolant leak, etc. Craig, tell them where you're at.
6367 Arapahoe Road. We're just off of Arapahoe on the east edge of Boulder.
Yeah, I know where the shop is at. I drive to it just about every other day.
There you go.
Got it.
Perfect.
So,
yeah, they can help you with that.
Alrighty.
All right. Appreciate it, Willie. Thanks so much for the phone call. And yeah, I should have mentioned that. Dennis is over in Parker. We said this in the very first hour, but I haven't re-mentioned it yet. Dennis is out in Parker, Extreme, off of Dransfeld. He can help you out. Big shop, by the way. One of our bigger shops inside the group. Probably the biggest shop in the group. Close. You're 20 bays.
Yeah.
Boulder, John's 4x4 Center, you've got 12 bays.
Yep.
So you guys are kind of close in line with size-wise, and John's is right off of Arapahoe, 63rd and Arapahoe, basically. It used to be my old shop. Craig's now running it again, and he ran it for me for a very long time, so it's the same guys back in it. So definitely stop in and say hi to those guys. Check them out, and it's easy to find. Phone number, 303-
449-2640.
I could have rattled that off, but I wanted Craig to do it. So, All right, let's go to George right before our next break. By the way, we have a line open, 303-477-5600. George, welcome. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Hey, so first off, I just had a sighting of something that's being built. That's getting a lot of hype. There is a Hellcat Challenger that is being road tested in Denver.
Really?
Yes.
Where at?
About an hour ago, I saw it on Colorado Boulevard.
Really? Is it a test one, or is it one that somebody's bought?
No, it's one of the test.
It is a test one.
Yeah, it's one of the test deals. I happened to be sitting beside it at the light, and I saw the regular SRT badging on it, and then I saw the Chrysler, manufacturer plate and the window sticker, and then light changed. He took off. He was being gentle, but if it's a regular SRT, it's got some tweaks to it because it was way too aggressive sounding.
Did you see the? Because the Hellcat. I can't talk. The Hellcat has a different hood.
I couldn't get in front of him.
Okay.
I was like beside, but I mean, it was way too aggressive sounding to be a regular.
What color is it? Do you know?
It's one of the flat black. It's one of the testimonials.
Interesting. I'm gonna email my media contact and see if if she knows anything about that, just for grins.
Yeah, because where I live in Thornton, I actually see a lot of the test stuff in the middle of the night. To the really odd stuff, they like to test. And I hadn't seen that. Cat, then it. Story for you.
Sure.
You've lived up in Boulder a long time, haven't you?
My whole.
Okay, so you're familiar with the area down to the south of Louisville that used to be part of Rocky Flats.
Yes.
And the farmers, and there was a dirt road that ran through there, and drawing a blank, from McCaslin, and it kind of went looped up and around.
Yep, I know the road. I know the exact road you're talking about.
Yeah, it was a dirt road. A lot of people would dump on,
It's all open space now. You can actually ride your bike and all sorts of stuff on it now.
Well, that used to be part of Rocky Flats property.
Interesting.
And there were power lines that ran through there.
Yes, there is. Yep, that's where the road basically came from.
Right, and there are signs that say this area under used to be in the 80s.
Yep, I remember the signs you're talking about.
Yeah, this area is under video surveillance. Well, if you would go out there and park and make out, it wasn't uncommon occasionally to see a vehicle come by you with absolutely no light whatsoever, and it was security from out there.
Yep.
One night, my girlfriend and I are out there parked, and we're fooling around, and here comes this vehicle, and I heard it coming. I had the sunroof open on my pickup, and I heard this vehicle coming and didn't, think much of it. And all of a sudden, it became daylight. This is 11:30 at night.
Became daylight. I like that terminology.
Yes, because there was more than one vehicle that approached, one from behind and one from the front.
Oh, man.
And they lit us up. And there was actually 3 vehicles. There was 2 of them were their security, and the third one was a Boulder Sheriff's deputy.
Yeah.
And they stopped, and they're like, "What are you doing out here?" "Well, we're in various states of undress." "What do you think we're doing?" And the guy says, "See that sign?" Because we were parked fairly close to one of the poles. And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "There's a reason that's there. That's how we know you're here." And I said, "Oh." And I said, "Well, I thought the signs were fake because I've been on there during the daytime and never seen the cameras." And he said, "Do you think we make it obvious?" And they, left us alone. They, they were just checking to see what we were doing.
Interesting. Yeah.
And needless to say, that ruined the mood for the rest of the night.
I'm sure it did. I know that road very well because we used to go out there at night and back in the day, and you could four-wheel kind of along in there. And, again, you had to be careful that somebody else didn't show up like you just mentioned, so you had to watch around and what lights were around. And, yeah, there were a lot of stealthy vehicles running around back in those days, so I know that area very well.
Yeah, it was kind of just out in the middle of nowhere dirt road. In fact, the field, there was a farmer that had cows in the one field.
That's right.
Yeah, because one other time we'd been there and we kept hearing something, couldn't figure out what it was.
Yep.
And I just got out, shined my flashlight. There was like 10 cows right by the fence.
Yeah, and then that road you could go from McCaslin all the way over to 128.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember the other road that went to.
Yep.
And it wasn't really a road. It was just dirt.
No, just no dirt, fence line kind of road where and you had to almost have four-wheel drive almost to drive on it because it was pretty rough.
Or either that or be very brave with a two-wheel drive.
That's right. Yeah. So, hey, George, good talking to you. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it very much. We got to take a quick break. Let's get some more calls going. 303-477-5600 is our number. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Otherwise, we'll be back right after this. I'll see if I can get some information through the show here on the Hellcat that maybe is in Denver. So for those of you that don't know what that is, we'll explain that when we come back. Matt knows what it is. We'll talk about it when we come back. 303-477-5600. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Want to know how to make your engine look like $1 million? Step 1, don't spend $1 million. Step 2, just spend $2.99 at Napa for gunk engine degreaser and get a $2.99 mail-in rebate. Step 3, do the math. For next to nothing, you and your engine just hit the jackpot. Sweet. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. Mail-in rebate available for the entire sale price at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 9/30/14.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at Gino'sAutoservice.com. That's Gino'sAutoservice.com.
Arvada West Auto wants to help you get the best fuel mileage you can. Approximately 3.5 million gallons of gas a day are lost due to underinflated tires. There are many things we can do to help you boost your fuel mileage, and most of it comes down to basic maintenance. No one likes to spend money on unplanned repairs. Let Arvada West Auto and Truck do what they do best. Keep your vehicles running at peak performance. From tune-ups to wheel alignments, they've got you covered with a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty on most cars. On the web, visit ArvadaWestAutoandTruck.com or call 303-422-1065. Arvada West Auto and Truck, where every question is important. Located on West 64th Avenue between Ward Road and Sims.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Here we go again. Right? Rock Me Like a Hurricane. That's the name of this, or I don't know if that's the name of the song. That's the tune of the song. So we're back. 303-477-5600. And we were talking about the Hellcat, which is I've talked about that once before on the show, but that's a Challenger that's coming out, I believe, very, very, very soon. In fact, I'm going to type it up here and see if I can figure out when. I know they just released fuel economy numbers of around 25K, 24K, something like that. And as far as I know, that car's coming out here relatively soon. Car and Driver just dynoed the car. Even though Chrysler says it's 707 horsepower, they just dynoed it at 825. So, is it going to be fast? Yeah, it's going to be fast. 4,488 pounds is the curb weight. They're saying 21 miles a gallon, but I think it just did better than that. Chrysler advertises it as 707 horsepower, and the thing is just going to be one heck of a machine.
It says 6.2 liter. Yeah. 6.2 liter Hemi with a supercharger.
Rear-wheel drive only. 6.2 Hemi supercharged, and it's got 2 keys. One key opens up everything. The other key is what you can let your kid or the valet or whatever you want to drive it, because it reduces all of the power, the timing curve, the torque curve, the fuel, all that gets reduced.
Drops it all the way down to 400 horse.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be a ride, but it's not the full bore. You're not going to come back with no skins left on it from the valet guy driving it. So, it will be no Ferris Bueller with the other key. So, anyways, it's a very interesting car. You can read all about it. I've talked about it. I put a bunch of stuff on Facebook about it. If I ever get the chance to drive one, trust me, I will let you know. But some of the articles out there are entitled, like 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat tested, ushering in the age of unreason. And where do you drive a 700+ horsepower car around on the streets? But it's just phenomenal. So
stoplights.
Car and Driver says that it reports, Chrysler says the dynoed car at 825 horse.
Yep, it's the same one I'm reading. Yep, 825. It's just unbelievable. Anyways, that's that car. Very, very cool. Is it a car you should buy and hang on to? It's hard to say. It's kind of like the Z28 that just came out. Is that a car you should go buy and hang on to? If you had enough money, yeah, that'd be awesome. But, it takes cash to do that. So, anyways, we'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. George, thanks for letting us know that there's one floating around, if, in fact, that's what it is, and hopefully it is. Z06 Corvette's coming out very soon. There is right now, even with all of the regulations that we have, some of the fastest cars ever built in production on the road today. So, guys, that's pretty cool. We're living in it, just wrap your head around that. So for all you old-timers that grew up with the, 70 Challengers and LS6 Chevelles and, Z28s and all that stuff, Mach 1s, all those things, you lived in an era that was pretty cool. Well, guess what? We're in it again. And really, is it affordable? Well, no different than what those cars were back then. Back then you paid twice as much for that car than you would have for the bone stock Chevelle, Mach, Mustang, Camaro, etc. So was there a premium on those cars then? Of course there was. Yeah. Definitely. Wayne up in Greeley, he owned a bunch of those cars. Wayne, if you're listening, call us in and tell us what the difference in price was of some of those cars you owned back then, because Wayne's got some great stories to tell along those lines. But I didn't want this to be muscle car day, but when George called in, it just kind of shifted things. But, yeah, we live in an era today that you can actually go out and buy a car that'll run a 12-second or under quarter mile. That's fast, guys.
I mean, a 69 Yanko back in the day wouldn't go that fast.
No, I mean, these cars will, in fact, there's a YouTube video of, you guys all know Richard, the guy from Grease Monkey Garage?
Yeah.
Not my favorite actor, but anyways, Richard does a commercial with Mopar, and he and the guy that's his money guy, they go out and buy all these big exotic cars on Grease or on Gas Monkey Garage. They take an original 70 Challenger and they take the new Hellcat Challenger and they go run them down the strip. The Richard's driving the new car. It beats the other car, I don't know, 4 or 5 car lengths. There's like no comparison between the two. That's on our YouTube page, or sorry, not YouTube. That's on our Facebook page also if you want to watch it. So it'll be back a ways. You're going to have to scroll back through Facebook. If I think about it, I'll re-up that and put it up again. But lots of cool stuff coming out of the manufacturers. I talked about our reviews earlier. I've got several up there. I won't go through all of them today because there's a ton that I've listed. Go look at them. You know, new Subaru, Legacy, Outback. They're Crosstrek. I've driven all those cars. They're just much nicer than they used to be. Just the 200 I drove a little bit ago with the Alfa Romeo chassis designed from Fiat Alfa Romeo that's coming out from Chrysler. Lots of really cool cars on the market today. Which leads us into, okay, so how are we all going to keep up on our side of the fence? This is kind of a segue into what Napa does. How do we keep up? Training, teaching, classes. Tony, you guys do a lot of things locally to bring classes and training and different things to our aftermarket. So those of you out there listening, you know, if you think that your local car to select facility or your local independent shop isn't as you know, trained and has as much information as the dealer has, you know, think again.
Yeah, you know, and here's something that just came to mind when you're talking about that. As far as dealer being trained, you know, like I used to work at a dealership, Nissan Tech and then GM Tech, and you only get their specific training. When you go to these classes, you're getting a wide variety of training, and there's more classes out here in the independent world going on than there was at the dealer.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, because at dealer, they're dealer specific, they're manufacturer specific, and they only have so many a year. You know, where right now you can go to a class. I mean, you can find a lot of classes out here right now, and Napa puts on a lot of classes for us, and we push that envelope. We talk to them, we get them to push more. The manufacturers aren't that way. They pretty much say, this is what you get, and this is what we have.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, then don't go.
Yep. No, you're right. You're exactly right. And you know, again, hats off to Napa, Tony, and the guys for doing that. They bring a lot of training that helps us with classes just coming up in the very near future. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. They help us out a lot, and that's how we get the training, and that's how we make it happen.
Here's a perfect deal. I just had 4 guys in class on Thursday night to turn around, and they're going again Tuesday. You know, so that's how quick these classes can come out. You know, I know we do slow down during the summer months because everybody's usually pretty busy vacationing and everything else going on in the world. But, you know, then fall comes back and here we go again. We're back in training.
That's exactly right.
We're constantly doing the training thing. And just because, you know, we kind of shy away from the in-class training in the summertime, but we got a lot of online stuff that your techs can take. And you know, we're trying to keep up with the industry on, you know, what's new, what can we add to it. And you know, hopefully we're doing the job that we are wanting to do to get that.
Yeah, the online classes, if you guys haven't taken them, they're amazing. They're really, really good. And I was on council when I got to see those. And there's also for accounting. There's I mean, you could take Excel programs on there. There's a whole bunch of stuff, whole variety. I think there's over 125 classes.
I'll put a plug in for those of you out there that might be shop owners or know somebody that's a shop, and maybe they're affiliated with Napa, maybe they're not. You know, they should be. If they're not, you know, give them the information, let them get a hold of Tony or one of us. We can plug you in the right direction of who you need to get a hold of to be a part of that. But no, Napa does a great job helping us out and overseeing what we do and giving us the tools that we need to really operate daily, whether it's me as a fleet shop or these guys all inside of Colorado Select. Either way, we've got the tools we need to make sure we get things taken care of. Mike's got some comments on the Hellcat. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, if America doesn't wake up, you might as well buy a prayer rug. No, seriously, you know, I was serious.
No, you are serious, and I agree with you on that one. You're 100% correct.
So I called the dealership a week or two ago on a Hellcat. You guys mentioned it a week or two ago, and I had a few figures on it anyway. Most of them, you guys. It runs with a 10.8 and a quarter with slicks.
Yep.
11.6 without modification. It's a 6.2?
6.2 supercharged.
20-inch aluminum wheels. Anyway, I called him up, and he was like, he was talking 90,000 to me.
You're kidding me.
No, and it was above that. I think I said cash. I didn't write that down. I mean, the pen blew out of my hand at that point.
You're kidding me. So he's already. They're already
it was
figuring.
like 115, 105.
Good
he
night.
told me, and of course, he had the taxes and
right.
But so anyway, yeah, I was actually thinking about it. I thought it was going to be 60,000.
Well, and they're supposed to be, and what you're going to find evidently is some dealers that want to, and I guess if they can get it, they can, but I think that's gouging. But you're going to have some dealers out there marking those things up because there'll be a limited supply. But, for everything I've read, it's not going to be that limited. I think if the thing takes off and they really start building them, they'll build them just like Corvettes do Z06s and Z01s and so on. And I think the guys that pay that extra money up front, Mike, are going to be sad they did, because I think as time goes by, that price will come down. I don't think it's going to be that limited. We're not talking about a Ford GT here.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that's my own impression. I think if it takes off and they build enough, just from talking to enough of the guys internally at Chrysler at some of the press events, etc. If it works and they sell them, trust me, they'll keep selling them because they're making money selling them.
That's marketing.
And,
I think the 60 is going to be more where they're going to be at, to be honest with you, because I think more people will buy it at 60. Less people will buy it at 90.
115.
Yeah. No.
Nobody's going to pay that kind of money for it.
No.
For sure.
Some guys might, to say they had the first one, but I think my point with that is like anything else. Once the prices settle down a little bit, Mike, I think they'll be around that 60K figure.
They're going to want to get them on the road.
Yeah, they are. That's
they're
right.
going to want to get them on the road.
Well, and here's how you look at that. Chrysler's is, with the exception of the supercharger, a hood, and a little differences that they've done, kind of tweaking the interior and the programming and so on. They don't have. No offense, they don't have $5-6 extra in that car over building a regular SRT8.
Really?
And they're getting, $15,000 more for it.
And they got the damn computer in them. I drove the 7.1 Challenger SRT a couple years ago.
Yep.
I was not impressed. I used to have Roadrunners and I had Chevelles back in the 67, 68, 9, okay? I was not impressed with the car. It was like a luxury car. The sucker sat there and spun on Colfax when I gave it a little bit of gas.
Yeah, no, they are. They're very radical.
Had the weight distribution like 50-50 instead of 60-40 as in the 70s. The 70 Challenger.
Yeah, the car that actually, in my opinion, and we'll see how it compares to the Hellcat when it comes out, but the super fast Camaro, the ZL car. That car is fun to drive, works well, handles well. Not saying it's one up on this Challenger. I don't know. I'd have to go drive both cars to determine that. But I'd love to drive a Z28 to see how it feels and compares to the Hellcat.
They're making them again too.
Yes, they are. As we speak.
I'll let you go, John.
All right, man.
Nice talking to you.
Appreciate you calling in, Mike. I enjoy it. Let's take a quick break. Larry's queuing up a call right now. We have a couple lines open, 303-477-5600. We've got a half an hour, actually less than that now, of Drive Radio. Call us. We'll get you right on. Love to hear your comments, questions, anything you want us to talk about. That's what we're here for. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-42. See us on the web. AutoandTruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
There are better ways to let people know you've arrived than with those squealing brakes. That's why Napa has Proformer brake pads for as low as $10.99. Just $10.99 to get back to what you're really known for, 80s hair metal. and a killer horn. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 9/30/14.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Do you love things that require gas or diesel fuel to run? Do you need a job? Are you just looking for a change? Napa Auto Parts is looking for delivery drivers and salespeople in all locations in the Denver metro area. If you have experience in the industry, that helps, but it is not mandatory. Please go to NapaAutoJobs.com. Again, that's NapaAutoJobs.com and fill out the application. Please mention Drive Radio on that application. Napa Auto Parts, an equal opportunity employer. All right, we're back. Line's open, by the way. Some of you called in off air and mentioned some things. Love hearing from you. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. 303-477-5600. Through the break, we were looking at pictures of Z28s and Challengers, and the Z28, by the way, is 72,305. It set a new record at Nuremberg, so it's a fast car too. It's a little more nimble than the Challenger. Neck and neck, and you can order one up, 72 grand, and off you go. 505 horsepower, and it's a handful. It'll be a car. That car's got Recaro seats, got the ability to put a 5-point harness in it without really modifying the seats at all. You know, it's got some pretty cool features. It's a little bit more plain Jane inside than the Challenger because they've made it pretty lean and mean just to go fast.
Yeah.
So they've done it a couple different ways.
It just kind of scares me a little bit that people can just go up and buy these kind of cars, but they can get them anywhere anyway. But you know that some people shouldn't be in these cars. You know, it gets dangerous. You got to be careful.
You have
That's
to know.
That's a lot of horsepower.
You have to know drive a car with horsepower.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Full
load and.
But you know, same token, we're some of the same performance figures. You know, as far as performance figures, we were, you know, back in the late 60s, early 70s, and you know, somehow people got by with it then. The cars today, you know, handle better, and we'll have to admit are more safe because all these cars, you know, to go on the road have to have airbags, have to have ABS, have to have all of the government regulation stuff, and they're still meeting all of that and still getting to a 10-second quarter mile with slicks. That's fast. Guys, that's fast.
That is fast.
And those of you that have never been down the quarter mile in 10 seconds don't really understand how fast that is. That's a fast car.
Yeah.
You get under 14 seconds at our elevation, you're driving a pretty fast car.
Yep.
You get under 12, you're faster yet. And you get into the 10s, there's a lot of cars that won't run a 10-second quarter mile without a lot of modifications done to it.
Right.
You know, you've got to be really fast to run a 10-second car. So, as a side note, anyway.
And to keep the wheels straight and keep. Oh,
that's right. All right, Jeff is up next. Jeff, what's going on today?
I was just wondering if some of your listeners might like to go down and try out that Tesla boat, that 85 kilowatt electric motor in that thing. It's like 0 to 60 in 3.7.
Oh yeah, those cars are really fast.
Yeah, those things are amazing. You don't have to buy gas, change oil, or do anything in it. Just go out and go fast.
In fact, I'd like. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I'd own a new Tesla sedan. I would have no problem driving and owning that car. That is a good-looking, sharp car. I would buy that car in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the only thing I'm disappointed with is you don't get the good old exhaust noise.
No, you don't. It's a totally different approach to fast. I mean, electric fast, by the way, everybody listening, electric fast is not the same as a, you know, 4-stroke engine fast. They're not one and the same. You step on an electric car, step on the gas, and it's there. You're done. I mean, there's no wind up. There's no nothing. It's just like all the power is right there, and off you go. It is a very exhilarating experience.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. For the money with the tax credits and everything, by the time you get done, you're into it for about 65.
Is that what is that what a Model S costs you when you're all said and done? Is about 65?
Yeah, out the door 65. If you want to put 220 in the garage, you know, for those dual chargers, if you get the S model, that runs you. Well, if you can do it yourself, it doesn't cost you too much.
Right. Who's our local Tesla dealer in town?
They don't really have a dealer here. They got you have to order those cars online, and they got a repair shop down in Centennial.
Okay.
Or it's a factory place you can go in and tell them about your problems. But the car itself, you just hook. It's got an onboard computer and a hotspot, and you just.
It shows online there is a store actually. Not to change the subject, but it does show a store at Park Meadows. Is that just a showroom, or what is that in Park Meadows? Do you know?
Yeah, it's just a showroom and answer questions if you're having any problems or anything. You can't go down there and buy one.
Well, but to
Unless
my
you do it
knowledge,
online.
you have to buy in Colorado. You have to buy the car through a dealer. You cannot buy direct from Tesla in Colorado.
Yeah, they might have set up a dealership down there now.
They must have, because you can't buy a Tesla direct in Colorado. We have one of those states where you have to have a representation of the manufacturer here selling your car, or you cannot sell it.
Oh, okay. Well, this one's a 13, and
So do you own one? I
got
assume.
this thing out of state.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you have to pay for it out of state, if I can ask?
Well, just buy it through the state, but we bought it. I mean, we had to come back here and license it and everything.
Got it.
But the car was, you still get all your tax credits and everything from the state. But when it came back, the thing came out to about just a little less than 72.
Okay. Okay.
For the S model. You know, they got three different models.
Right. That's pretty cool. That's a neat car. I mean, I'm assuming you like the car a lot, or you wouldn't be commenting on it.
Yeah, we've only got about 4,000 miles on it. But, you know, have you ever taken a ride in the performance jet, military jet?
Mm.
I mean, when you stand on that thing, it puts you back in the seat.
Yeah.
Like you're taking off on a runway.
Yeah. No, it's nice. So what's your range? I mean, do you have any range anxiety with that, or do you get pretty good, I mean, can you drive it long enough to where that's not an issue?
Yeah, we can drive. You can go 300 miles. It's got a 300-mile range.
Okay.
And they got these charging stations.
And how long to charge back up to go another 300?
About 17 minutes on my 220.
Well, that's not bad at all. That's pretty slick. Well, now you got my interest piqued.
Well, it's with a dual charger. If you get that S model with the dual charger in it, that takes about 17 minutes. I guess just the single charger takes a little longer.
And I apologize for all the questions, because I'm just not a Tesla expert by any means. Is that a rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive?
Yeah, it's a rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive. Okay.
I think they're coming out with a front-wheel drive, but you don't even turn the wheels over when you stand on this thing. I mean, you can't leave your rubber on the road.
It just
that
goes.
Thing weighs a little over 6,500 pounds.
Got it.
With those batteries.
With all the batteries, yeah.
Yeah, and it just. And everything.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
well, keep us updated. I'd like to hear more about that. So as you keep driving that car, let us know how it goes, and I'd love to hear more about it.
All right.
All right,
good.
Jeff. Appreciate it. That's a very nice car. I love the look. It's a beautiful car. Yeah, the S model. Very beautiful car.
It's a S60. Is that what it is?
Well, I think they just call them Model S's, I think.
Model S, but then they have 60, 85, and a P85.
And I don't know.
One is 302 horsepower.
They're
362 horsepower, and then it goes up to 416.
I just know they work very, very well. So, anyways, all right. Hey, let's go to, I think Jim is next in Foxfield. Jim, welcome. What's going on today?
Okay, I just want to call in, update, have a 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Okay.
We talked a couple of weeks ago about a TIPM power module in that. And
right.
I had a cold start problem.
Correct. What'd you figure out on that, Jim?
The dealer did replace that TIPM.
Good.
And secondly, I have a friend that has the same vehicle, same problem. He sent the unit to some kind of a speedometer shop somewhere that repaired his for about $300 with shipping.
Got it.
But I just noticed on the internet today that Jeep is doing a recall. It's a little confusing what to say, but they start out saying it's a weak spring in the fuel pump, a weak spring and a relay in the fuel pump, and then they start talking about control modules. They finally get down to this totally integrated power module. But
right.
I'm not sure which one they're going to do a recall, but supposedly on October 24th they're going to recall this. So.
Interesting. Well, they needed to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so hopefully in my case I had to pay $100 because I had an extended warranty.
Now keep in mind, keep all of your receipts, because even that $100, even with your extended warranty, you'll get reimbursement for that if they do a recall on that. So save all your paperwork.
Okay, good. And what, do I go back to the dealer on that? Or?
Yes, you'll go back to the dealer and submit that, and they should be able to.
You'll have to wait for the letter to come in, though.
Once the letter comes out, you'll be able to do that. Yep.
Okay, well, I just thought I'd update you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Jim. Thanks for the phone call very much. I appreciate that. All right, Glade, you've got a couple questions. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll talk to you. And, hey, by the way, stay with us at the 1 o'clock hour. Sportsman of Colorado is going to be on. Scott Watley and all of his crew will be coming in, taking over, so don't turn the dial once we go off air. Keep listening to KLZ through the rest of the afternoon. Matt, take it away. We'll be back right after this. Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet 1. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Worn out shocks and struts make your car handle like a banana boat being towed by a super tanker. Fix that pavement pontoon now and get 4 qualifying Napa or Rancho shocks and struts for the price of 3 with a mail-in rebate offer. So stop sloshing around and conquer the job with Napa know-how. Mail-in rebate offer for Visa prepaid card in the amount of the lowest cost unit at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 10/31/14.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At coloradoselect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. coloradoselect.org.
Hey, and one thing to add about the last caller with the Tesla that we were just talking about through the break, these charging stations and such that you go to, Dennis, or somebody was asking you, hey, do you have to swipe a credit card? How does that work? Nope, it's all free because you cannot, at least to my knowledge, if somebody wants to fight me on this or tell me otherwise, let me know, but you cannot recharge, you cannot resell, I should say, power. Once it gets to whoever's the final destination, you cannot resell that power. Now, you could charge a parking fee, I guess, or something along those lines, but you cannot recharge for resell power once it's already been sold. Let's go to Glade, who is next. Glade, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi.
Tesla has a service facility on Evans, just west of Monaco on the north side of the street. I've delivered parts there.
Got it. Do they sell them there too, or is that just a service facility?
That I'm not sure.
I guess I need to call somebody from Tesla and get them on the air, I guess is what I need to do, don't I?
Yeah, I think it would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Have you done any comparison now that we've had these hybrids and electric cars out, like the Volt and the Prius? What's the resale? How's the resale held up?
They're doing fine, actually. Believe it or not, they're doing very well. And a lot of it, the market fluctuates on those, depending upon what fuel prices, et cetera, are doing. But no, they've all done very well. Now, they're not as high as they were when the fuel crunch was really on and the prices were at $4 a gallon. They're back down to a reasonable, price. But they haven't just totally fallen off to where they're not worth anything.
The older one will keep its value up a little bit.
You broke up there. Say that again, Glade.
The older one will keep its value. I was just thinking in comparison with like a Corolla.
Yeah, they actually do very well. In fact, I would have to go look at Kelley Blue Book and look at some of the resale figures, or get Isaac, our broker, on to tell you this. But I would venture to guess that some of your hybrids will even do better than probably a Corolla will.
Oh, I got to drive a new Charger with the Pentastar V6 and the 8-speed automatic.
Yes.
Very impressive automobile with that 8-speed automatic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that works very well.
Yeah, and the Hellcat has that same tranny.
Yep. I just drove that 200, by the way. The 200 I just drove has the 9-speed, the new 9-speed automatic in it. And, of course, part of what they're doing there is to get the RPM of the engine to stay as consistent as they can, because that's, of course, where the fuel economy comes into play. But, yeah, very, very cool to have that many speeds in a transmission.
Yeah, it was night and day difference over the standard automatic. It kept it in the power band. I mean, for a daily driver, you felt like a V8.
Yeah, they to your point, Glade, they work very well. In fact, I would tell you that I drove that full van that they just came out with the V6 in it, and you drive that car, or that's not a car, you drive that van. It's a front-wheel drive van with a 3.6 Pentastar. You wouldn't know you weren't driving a small V8 in it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's that new Fiat van?
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, car works very, very well.
Well, I'm waiting for the Hellcat Charger.
Then that's coming too. Supposed to be out next year.
Yeah, I mean, what a road warrior that would be.
That would be full bore sedan, 700 horsepower. That'd be a machine. Yeah, you think there'll be a few cop cars running around in that configuration? That's the next question.
Oh yes, I bet there will.
I think he lost Glade, so I'll let him go. But
by the way, that is a charging station.
Yes.
Again, it's a service center, is what it is on Evans.
It's a service center. Okay.
Both of them are. Yeah,
okay.
I can't find one in Denver that's for sale.
Now, there's got to be somewhere in Denver. There has to be a sales center, because you can't sell a car in Colorado direct. So I'll get Isaac to see if he can reach out to Tesla and from Tesla on the list, and let's get that done and get Tesla show. Didn't think much interest, a little interest out. So that is, if you see, you're gonna second look. Trust me, you're gonna look at that. Wow, what is that? It's a good looking car. I've got a guy in my neighborhood that owns one, a black one, and that car drives by. I mean, you just naturally turn your head to look when it drives by. It's just that good looking of a car. And it's not that it's so unique that it doesn't look like anything else on the road, because it's got similarities to other cars, but it's just a really, really good looking car. So anyways, all right, guys, we're getting close to the end of the show. We could take another caller, too, if you want to call in. Let us know. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. Let me finish up real quick with something I was going to talk about today. I just didn't get a chance to do it. I did put up on our Facebook page earlier in the week some tips on, taking care of your car, getting it waxed, getting it ready to go, etc. And I mentioned Chemical Guys earlier in the show. Napa also has a full line of stuff. They've got everything from the clay bars to everything that Mother sells and McGuire sells. And Tony, what all wax companies do you even carry?
Oh, there's so many I couldn't probably even mention it. Turtle Wax is in there. Zymol, I think, is in there. I think
Simonize.
Yeah,
you can keep going down the list. They're all
California stuff, and right. Surf City is another one.
Okay.
Yeah, so quite a few.
And there's a bunch. And the key to all of this is, as we've talked in shows in the past, the newer cars, the newer paint, do you have to wax them? No, you don't. they'll last without it. I mean, the clear coat now that we've got, the two-stage procedure they're using, the waterborne paint, or the water-based paint, I should say, everything works really well together. You're not going to have the same problems you used to have on cars. I was following a Denver PD car the other day, one of the old, Lincoln, or not a Lincoln, but the Interceptor cars. What's the
Ford?
Ford. What are they?
Crown Victoria.
Crown Vic. There we go. Thank you, Matt. Crown Vic. So I'm following a Crown Vic yesterday, actually, in traffic, going home from the station, following this Denver PD. There's hardly any white paint left on this car. I mean, it's gone. It's just like been power washed, or it's just flaked. You know how those old Fords did? They just flaked off. So half the car's white, half of it's primer. And I'm like, that's really a great testimony to how great cars were in those areas. And they were good cars, but the paint just was not what it is today, is my point. Today's cars, today's paint, so much better than they used to be. How you take care of them isn't even the same. You no longer have to get out there and wax the car. I mean, back in the old days, you waxed a car once a month if you wanted to keep the paint looking good. Once a quarter for sure. Now can you get by waxing a car once a year? You can. The advantages today of waxing the car and keeping it clean are twofold. One, easier to clean. So when you've got good solid wax on the car, cleaning it off, once it gets in the winter months, you get the mag chloride, all the rest of the stuff on it, it makes it so much easier to get everything off because there's now a barrier between the dirt and the whatever product lies on it versus what's underneath. So that's one of the key things. Somebody called in last week and said, well, I think you even get better fuel economy. Well, maybe. Less resistance, etc., was his point, and it could be, although it's probably minuscule. The biggest thing for me is you just know you're taking better care of the paint. You're going to have less problems. It's easier to get rid of the dirt. The paint, the car itself is just going to last longer. Plus, typically when you wax, you're also moving to the interior and getting rid of the dirt and the crud. And again, that's another area where if you get a lot of dirt, junk down in the seats, etc., getting all that cleaned out makes all of that last longer, getting the leather condition, taking care of your vinyl, cloth, the carpets, all that kind of stuff. All of that, to Tony's point, makes everything last longer. And I'm one that says, if you ever think about trading a car off, go make sure you get your car, even if you don't do it yourself, go get it detailed. Have somebody, even if it's $100, go detail it, polish it, wax it, clean it up, carpet shampooed, the whole 9 yards, then drive it. Because you know what? Your appearance and how you feel about the car will change dramatically after all that's been done. And you may say, wow, I liked this car at one time. I still do. I don't need a new car. I'll just keep driving the old one, and I'll fix it up, and I'll keep driving it. We got another comment on Tesla. Mike, what's going on?
Yeah, my subjective impression on your comments on the Tesla is that you have not reviewed one?
I have not reviewed one. I have not had one in my hands yet, no.
Yeah, I haven't driven one either, but I've sat in one, and luxury doesn't epitomize my feelings on the comfort of it. Yeah, the Park Meadows, as I understand, is I don't know if it's the one and only Denver dealership. They also, in addition, have a charging station there for not just Teslas, but I've seen Nissan Leafs down there.
Yep. Any plug-in car?
Yeah. And I'm sorry. In addition, for myself, cost aside, range anxiety aside, I'm still unsold on, and this includes your hybrid, on the reliability and cost effectiveness of the lithium-ion batteries.
Well, they actually, believe it or not, they've been pretty reliable. Now, Toyota continues to use the metal, the metal hydride batteries because they feel like they've got a better track record than what the lithium ions do. But, so far, neither one of them have really been, even us in the industry can tell you, they just haven't been a huge issue. Toyota, of course, warranties theirs up to 100,000 miles. I think Tesla, I got to look at theirs and see, but I'm guessing they're doing something similar. The real question becomes, and I'm, by the way, I would never buy one just based on, being a tree hugger or saving the environment. No, I'm a car guy. I could care less about all that stuff. I'm more worried about, does it make sense? Is it fun? Is it economically feasible, et cetera? But one of the things I do think is a consideration on the environmental side of the fence is what do we do with the batteries and all the things once they're used up? Can they be recycled? Can we redo them, et cetera? Because that is a big factor. Because you just go throw them in the landfill, makes no sense at all. Although the counterpoint to that would be every other car ends up some way, some shape, parts of it in the landfill, recycled, etc. So, case in point on both sides. Mike, I appreciate your comments. Eric, I'm not going to be able to get to you. We are running out of time. Sportsman of Colorado is coming up next. Tony Ralston, Craig Wallace from John's 4x4 in Boulder, Tony's from Napa, Dennis Brewster, Extreme and Parker. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Been a great show. I've enjoyed it wholeheartedly. Don't go away. Again, Sportsman of Colorado is up next, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And listen to KLZ all